All right. Good day, YouTube. Good evening. Let's get warmed up. I'll give a chance for the chat room to catch up with me and for me to figure out how this thing is working because I haven't done one of these in a while and they've changed half of the format, etc., tools, everything else. So give me a minute and we will get started. Hopefully. All right. See, I have to flip everything around still, etc., etc. All right, everybody, YouTube, thanks for coming, checking us out. Obviously, unless you've been not watching my channel, unless you or Google Plus or any of other the various social media, big doings on in the cases of the Tier 1 defendants. Make sure everybody knows that's clear. This is the Tier 1 defendants who were found in a hung jury a couple months ago in the first line of trials. This today, two were found completely not guilty on all charges, and Eric Parker and another gentleman. I can't. I always get them messed up of who's what. Uh, Let me pull that up. Were acquitted of all charges except for two that were in a hung jury still. Um, Significant either way you look at it. That somebody actually got the feds and told them what was up. Let me pull up that info. So to clarify, it was Ricky Loveland, and where's the other gentleman's name? Stephen Stewart were not guilty on all 10 counts. Eric Parker was found not guilty on 6 of 10. There's four hung jury charges, and then Scott Drexler was not guilty on 8 of 10, with 2 charges being on a hung jury. And both of those charges for Scott Drexler and Eric Parker were related to assaulting a federal officer and the use of a firearm in the commission of that supposed assault and crime. And that's what they were hung on. If you haven't been following, definitely go check out John Lamb's Facebook or Andrea Parker's, and check out what they had. They followed it day by day and how everything played out, and how the jury had questions leading up to this, which was significant because there was jurors had conflict of interest, which probably led to the hung jury instead of a complete acquittal. And one of those was a member of the court and past job title, and another one was somebody who had lied on the jury questionnaire, uh, that they had never been a victim of a crime, and this individual had spoken up and said that they were a victim of a gun crime. I'm gonna get some links out to some significant people who have been involved in this from the beginning, so I want to definitely get some feedback if they can get in. I know I talked to Tony. He is kind of out of he's in some very bad internet connection areas, but if he can get in, we might be able to get him in, um, along with Mule and some others. So give me a second to get some other people here rambling. But I think it's definitely significant. If anybody knows the federal judicial system has to get acquitted on all these counts, when basically the judge, the prosecution carte blanche on what they could do and what they couldn't do, and the defense could do nothing. They weren't allowed to present a defense, essentially. That's another, if you haven't been following, go back and look at some of the testimony that was going on or lack thereof. And it's just shocking. And I did it in a video a couple months ago of how the court was just being decimated. But the key here is this is not anything but the people standing up. This is a jury that could see through it, that recognized that the feds had not proven their case, and that they didn't prove, definitely beyond the shadow of a doubt, if at all, because there was no victim, essentially. Where was the victim? A bunch of crying supposed law enforcement officers. A bunch of them, half of them lied on the stand. When you talk about Metro and what they testified to in those hearings, is just definitely the definition of a kangaroo court. And we've got several videos that you can do look at that. Miss B. Stacy did very good at following it and tracking what Andrea and John were putting out. That's on YouTube, and the Valley Forge Network as well. We're tracking and putting that on YouTube. So John Lamb and Andrea are mostly on Facebook, but Miss B. Stacy mirrored that usually and discussed it on her channel as well here on the YouTube. So definitely go check those out if you are not up to speed on some of the injustice that was going down during this whole debacle. Got some links out in the G Plus for Mule.
I'm
Tony,
in here, buddy.
Wild Iron. Oh, sorry, I wasn't on the screen. I was busy looking everywhere else. Hey, what's up, man?
What's up? I was
Grandpa.
What you were saying, because this info needs to get out. Shit, I almost opened the Dragon and called all you guys myself. Only reason why I didn't is I saw you did.
All right. Right on. Yeah. And it's not on any media. It's on the local Vegas papers I've seen, but and it's on Twitter making the rounds in various groups, but it's not nowhere near into the main, what you would call the main. It wasn't on Drudge. I had to tweet Drudge. I don't know if he's even put it up yet, because he's worried about the president being in Arizona, apparently. Yeah, he's got a big picture of Trump up with resist.
Right. But people don't get that. This isn't, first of all, when I heard the news, I was so happy for everybody involved. You know what I mean? And B, I thought, great, now I have something to talk about on the radio tomorrow. But also, because I'll let everybody know the same thing you're doing now. You know what I mean? Is just putting the info out there because people are not going to get it, But this is another repudiation of the Obama administration, because all this happened under Obama's watch. The people still running it are the people that ran it under Obama. And the people are still pushing back against the government and against this fucking idiotic ideology that's coming to the forefront here in the United States right now.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a long time coming. You can't, I don't want to say it has anything to do with necessarily with the last administration. It has kind of come to a head then, because the documented history of the Bundy's problems goes
decades. All the way back to Reagan.
So the land issue is not a one administration thing for sure. And it's not getting solved right now. I want to get into that so much right now. But the Justice Department side of it, when it was mentioned during the campaign, I think, that Trump said he would free, he put it on Twitter at least, I don't think, it may not have been in a speech or anything, that he would free the Bundys and their fellow Americans when he was after inauguration. And people called him out on that. There was a tweet that was put out like in 2016 sometime, and I can look back and find that. But people have been calling him out on that. And obviously, he gives up people, he gives responsibility, like Sessions. He gives them a lot of leeway to do their job. But when you make a statement like that, you have to get the people you appoint to follow through too. So
I agree 100%. You
um,
know, but I think the people aren't waiting for any government agencies anymore. I mean, look at it. I've followed the case. Navarro was constantly sandbagging the defense, and even at a point almost gaslighting the defense. You know what I'm saying? Trying to call them crazy. You know, like, well, and did everything she could.
well, she
to
allowed
make
the
sure.
prosecution to compare him to McVeigh right there in front
Yeah,
of the
that's
jury.
what.
She allowed them to compare. There is no comparison to McVeigh, but she allowed the prosecution to make that link without objection.
Yeah. So, well, there's more than that went on in that courtroom, right? So, if you know, the one thing that the only hope that I ever had, besides what happened, you know, getting a jury nullification or just, you know, hung jury, whatever is going on, acquittal straight up is the best. But was, you know, I'm looking at all the crap that Navarro was doing, and I was thinking this is definitely going to be appealed, and it's going to win pretty damn handily. You know, now it doesn't have to. This is the only part that I regret, is that now that judge can still sit in court.
Yeah, that's
You know, now she's
travesty of
done
the
it
whole
to the,
thing, definitely.
yeah, she's
And
done it
she's
to
going
the
to still be
Bundy.
there for the next case. I guess she's going to do the Bundys too. I don't know how that whole works or who has responsibility, because there's more than one federal judge in Vegas. But I guess she's here in the Bundy case too, which is conflict of interest, if you ask me.
Well, I am amazed that there's not more money involved to be able to help these people to get this kind of shit up to the forefront. Because really, if nothing else, if the government wants a fair trial, a real fair trial, they need to have an impartial judge, and she ain't one.
Oh
You know,
no, no doubt.
she's just total stooge for the government, and will, you know, and has proven it so far. And the people don't give a shit, right? The people don't care.
Well,
The people
they
keep.
don't know. Some people care. I mean, the jurors obviously
Well, no, that's what I'm
care
saying.
to
The
some
jurors,
extent.
the people in the jury room, the people that count, the people that are setting the people free, that are standing up for real justice, don't give a shit what the judge has to say, and they've proven it today with the acquittals.
Right.
You know,
I
because everything that she put out to the jury was basically saying there's no way you can't convict.
Yeah, for sure. There was no other evidence other than, well, there was very little evidence to prosecute, but there was no evidence in defense, essentially.
Right.
Which I thought, and if anybody, for those that didn't follow, the last day when the defense uh, closing argument, they did not make a closing argument, and they did not rest. Usually, you have to rest the defense. They did not do that either, because there was a procedural motion they wanted to make for a mistrial. But they also did not make any closing arguments, um, because they felt that that was the best thing. And when the prosecution made their final argument, they had played video they hadn't played before that had the words snipers, that there was, and it showed all of Cliven Bundy's speech, apparently, talking about the aggressive nature of the BLM and everything else. I guess so. When he was making that speech from the stage, they played that whole thing in the closing argument. So the defense felt that was their best defense, and they rested on that alone, which was very interesting. But apparently, that strategy worked out.
Well, I just think the American people are more woke than the government or anybody really believes. The media, the government. You and I have been talking for years now. You know what I'm saying, HTP? We've been waking fucking people up for years in multiple different platforms, from in our dailies to here on the internet. You know, and they didn't see it coming with Trump. They don't see it coming with the Bundys. They don't see it coming anywhere except where they're paying people to go out and protest, and they're trying to push an agenda. You know, the places that they've planned to do stuff, they see it working out for them, right? Boston, Charlottesville, a place like that. But in the rest of the country, where they're losing control, to them, they should have had control in Nevada totally, right? This shouldn't even be a case. It shouldn't have been a case up in Oregon. Everybody should be locked up and doing life in Fed pens. You know, but the people are pushing back.
Yeah, and
that's
one
a
thing to make
glorious
clear
thing.
too about the jury is this was not a jury of their peers, and more details will probably come out about the jury, about who they were, because that usually gets released afterwards, at least
Yeah, but it was
by number, not by name. But these were not ranchers and country folk who understood the rural lifestyle and rural plight. These are city and suburban dwellers from Vegas, Henderson. They're in the metro Vegas area. So, and it was a split of 6 women, 6 men. I do know that, but their other composition, I'm sure, very little has to do with them sympathizing with a rancher. I think that's one thing to take note of too. Is they not only did they not necessarily have anything in common with the defense, but uh, they probably live an exact opposite lifestyle what they saw through the Fed's case.
Well, not only that, you know what? I got to disagree with you on they didn't see anything in common with the defense, right? I disagree. I think
No, not that they didn't empathize. I mean, they probably could relate, but they didn't have any background. Previous
right.
history.
Okay, so I think they didn't have a lifestyle, rural lifestyle, but I think they look. You know, we look at the American cowboy, let's just say, as an idyllic symbol of America, one of its greatest, even though it might also be one of its worst, but one of its greatest times, right? And we idolize the cowboy. But I think Americans just get sick of all the shit that the government's doing, you know, on every level. You know, and I think if you get an honest jury of 12 Americans together, they would have done the same thing.
Men, but they didn't see any of those iconic pictures in court, though. They weren't allowed to show people on horses. Well, they showed the crowd under the bridge. I guess they did show that. So, yeah, they did show that.
Once you start getting into the case and to try and say you never heard nothing about the Bundy fucking case, right? Before you got picked for that jury is a goddamn lie, right? The way the media spread it out, especially those pictures that they're trying to get people charged for, and 2 dudes they get time for, you know.
Who did time? What were you?
Didn't 2 guys get convicted under all these cases? It might be cash now.
Who? What do you mean?
I thought I saw that 2 people were had accepted plea deals or something.
Well, Jerry DeLemus had accepted his plea deal, and there were others, a couple others, I think, that did plea down.
Yeah.
But also, there's the 2 that were still. There's 2 that haven't been retried that were on hung juries before. I can look up. I'll have to find their names.
But these are going to keep getting more and more interesting because with every trial, it sets these people free. It sets precedent, right? Sets precedent. They get convicted for appeal. I mean, the government's hating this shit, but the American people should be loving it.
Yeah, to hear the description that John Lamb and Andrea Parker had, they were getting people to comment when they gave the sentence, when they released said not guilty. I guess the BLM guys walked out, which is just awesome. And I would have paid money to see Navarro's face, just to see her total look of that she failed, because that was her mission, was to convict, and she failed.
I would have loved to see everybody's faces, the BLMs, the ATFs and FBI's and the prosecutions. When that was read, I really wish there was a camera in that courtroom.
Yeah, because because this was set up as dominoes to fall. They get this conviction, and it makes the Bundy conviction easier. Boom, boom, boom. Now they don't have this to build on. They don't have precedent. They don't have. Well, these guys were convicted. These are convicted felons over here that were participating. Well, now they don't have that to build on. That's the biggest significance, I think. And everybody should understand that. All the Bundys, including Mel, who wasn't even at the standoff, are still in prison being held in pretrial confinement for nothing more than what happened. For standing up. That's all. In the chat room real quick, I haven't give some shout outs to who we got joining us today, this evening. Obviously Mule Team's in here with me. Angel, how you doing out there? Hope you survived all the madness from the eclipse. Warrior, what's going on, bud? Good to see you out there. El Tenda's got a contest going on. Go check him out, enter his contest to get some cool gear. JJ, what's up there in the Great White North? Partisan Gorilla, how you doing? Not guilty indeed. I never say it right. Gilzinas Vilkas. How you doing?
Alanis Vilkas.
Yeah. Galanis Vilkas. Okay. But yeah, Judge Navarro is definitely better at a lot of things than she was conning the jury. She almost got it over though. Mr. Lamb from Tennessee, how you doing? I hope you survived the apocalypse as well. All the madness that went associated with that. Sparks, how you doing? I sent you a link, Sparks, if you wanted to jump in. Jay Thornton, how you doing? Good evening. Thanks for joining us and commenting. Weapons Machinist, how you doing? The beef's still on the Bundy Ranch at this moment. More to be followed. Next on down. Glitch Mod, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the chat. I don't think I've ever seen you comment or any other chat, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And for any NSA or FBI, ATF, other people that have joined us, welcome as well. I did send links to some of the old.
What's third option?
No, I meant the real NSA, not this third option.
Oh, okay.
But I did send links to Third Op, Rebel, Tony. I sent a link in case he can get in. I know he's got bad connectivity. I did talk to him. He was definitely happy about the whole thing, obviously. But Rebel's got a link. Warrior, I sent you a link as well. I think that that'll give us the crew that kind of started this madness, but we'll bring some other people in if we don't get other people in.
I'd say send one to Stinger, but Stinger's seeing Trump tonight in Phoenix.
Oh, did he go down there to oppose the John Brown Gun Club?
No, he went down there to enjoy the night inside the rally.
That video, the John Brown Gun Club hanging out.
Yeah,
that's basically the counter.
Yeah, and it was. He said it wasn't much when he was on his way in. Now Sternos is saying there's a shitload, but Stinger was like, "Yeah,
so
yeah." I talked to him and Heidi.
Is he gonna make some video or anything? You think, or?
No, he really didn't do that much anymore. But he's just in there, took some pictures, threw them up on the Facebook.
Oh, right on.
Mm-hmm. So I tapped in, said, "Hey," asked him the same question about you because I saw the same things from Cernovich. I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you packing?" He was like, "Yeah, but." It's not a big deal.
Yeah. So a couple of links out there. If Mike just join us.
You know what? I just when Oregon came up with not guilty, when Oregon came down as not guilty, the government knew they were in trouble. That's why there's been such pushback in Nevada. Right, that's why they've done the most they can to control the information getting to the jury in Nevada as possible. Right, so much so is not letting hung juries go through, not letting a lot of things go through, making them retry, and keeping these men locked up without chance of bail. All this shit they're doing because they know
that's the biggest injustice, and I was half convinced that they knew they didn't have a case and they're just trying to definitely detain them, just to write it out because they want to hold on to them as long as they can. They get this gold butte thing in, they confiscate their cattle, and they'll move on. That's was most of my thinking. They're just hanging on to them as long as possible.
Well, look at the case. I mean, look at the case they have. They have nothing, right? To where even when the defense doesn't put up a defense, they still win. Because the government, it's 100% stacked in the government's favor, and they still fucking lose. It's Hillary and Trump all over again, 99-1 bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the good thing is too is it also denies, the precedent of not being able to resist the government, because that was one of the precedents they were going for. Is you can, and that was what they say in court. You cannot resist an officer as they execute their duties, regardless how just or unjust they are.
Yeah. Well, regardless of whether they're within the law or not.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I mean,
or if you just.
How many times have we dealt with cops or talked about it, at least for some of us? I've dealt with them in that fact, where the cops don't know the law and they're fucking with you just because they don't like what you're doing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and they want to set precedent, and it's mostly for federal officers. It didn't apply so much to your average day policeman, but definitely for a federal agent. Hey, you can't be, because the law they were using was about federal agents. They used the emotional argument to kind of put in, insinuate that there was threatened to everybody. That's why they brought Metro in, and they cried on the stand and lied. But it was mostly about the federal side, and that's the law they were going after. Is that
well, that's why it's a federal court, but it starts with them.
Because there was no assault against Metro. They had no case against, because Metro was, you saw that picture. Eric Parker standing right behind the idiot who cried on the stand, sitting there talking to another officer, pointing up at the daggum snipers who are probably not BLM, probably some other three-letter agency. And he gets in this stand in court and says, I was afraid for my life, but yet he's right there next to the guys. And I'm pretty sure that Tony was right next to Eric in that park picture, but concealed behind the officer. I've evaluated that one. I think Tony's actually right there next to him. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's all ridiculous on its face, and people have known it for a long time. But look, they've been able to keep them because the judge is theirs. They've been able to keep these men locked up, and this is all punitive punishment that they know they're not going to be able to get. They know they're not going to win. They keep losing. And like you said, here's the problem. It is setting a precedent. It's setting a precedent of the federal government losing in this kind of a case. You know what I mean?
It doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen.
Well, there's reasons for them losing, right? So there was no honest threat. There was only reaction to a threat by the federal government, right? And the people can see that, right? There was no destruction of public property at all, right? So the property that was being destroyed, where the cattle that was being killed, which was private property, belonged to the Bundys, and nobody argued that. You know?
Right. Well, they weren't able. You couldn't bring that up in court. None of that was be able to present it. It was an absolute travesty, and it's a real shock that the jury came up. I mean, because I was shocked. I was like, I figured a hung jury, mistrial for sure. I didn't see how. But they obviously just saw through the BS, and maybe that closing argument and that closing video that they did show gave them all the defense that they thought they needed, which is good on them.
And it seemed to work, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that got everybody's blood boiling at the time, right? It wasn't like what these fucking idiots are doing with these statues now, where they're destroying public property on, in the fucking mob rule, right? It was the exact opposite of that.
Oh, yeah, it was. And like we said at the time, if you want to know how to protest, this is how you go out and protest. If you want to be safe and you want to do it right, this is the template. This is the model. And that's why they try to demonize it more than anything.
Actually, go ahead. Sorry, finish thought.
No, you said you were going to what?
I just got banned from Huffington Post getting in a fight with one of their fucking writers about that shit, because they wrote up this thing on open carry isn't the same as free speech, right, in fucking Charlottesville. Now, I've said my stance on the statues, that to me they shouldn't have gone up in the first place, but they're there, so they shouldn't be taken down. We don't tear down history in this country. We learn from it, and that's how we can face the whole world and be who we are as real Americans. We accept our bad points and our good points, and we move on. These people just want to keep going back to shit that happened, 150 fucking years ago and act like it's relevant today. No, it's not. But it's a good distraction to keep you from what's relevant today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, you see the Portland protest, all this stuff gets covered by the mainstream. But you won't hear a peep about what happened today with this jury.
Right. Which is definitely, and even if I was Antifa, right? God forbid, I'd kill myself before I did anything like that. Thought I could be a communist. I grew up kill a commie for mommy with the goddamn sickle over my head the whole time. Duck and cover. Fuck that. Commie bullshit. Anyway, right? But it's just ridiculous that people today don't understand that what the Bundys are doing right now works for them too. You know, it is the right of protest. It is the right to be able to protest in the right way. They tried to set up a free speech zone. Fuck you, no free speech zone. Tried to say you can't come armed. Fuck you, you can come armed, especially if it's legal in that state. Well, that's where I got kicked out of fucking HuffPost, because I'm like, look, dude, your whole argument is bullshit because it's actually legal in that state. And you're using pure hypotheticals, and it's invalid. Because the protest that took place in Virginia was legal. Those men that stood there armed between the two groups were trying to protect everybody as just people who believed in free speech and believed that people should be able to protest, along with the cops, you know, that are getting lumped into one side or the other. Them poor bastards, they might have been oath keepers for all the hell I know, but they were trying to be there in the middle, and they were perfectly within their rights to go out there and open carry.
Yeah, I guess, and on the Charlottesville thing, I guess those gentlemen that were armed, that's exactly, there were, there's a group that I've been following on Facebook, I think just after Charlottesville, I found it, called Patriot Media, and I guess they're associated with them. And
okay, but
they were linked up with them, and I guess a loosely affiliated Oath Keeper group, and that's who they were.
Right.
They weren't affiliated with anybody either side.
No, they were not at all. They were there to be just nothing more than to keep people, and it got out of control because the cops basically walked away. You know, they were there to supplement the cops, to not have people get their heads busted and try and keep people from getting to the level of cops, you know, and then the cops disappear like fucking ghosts in the night. Ridiculous. And this is happening in cities across this country, democratic cities across this country, where they're pulling back on the police to let them get the violence going.
It looks like a pretty clear agenda to me.
It does to me too. I'm sorry, I know I'm interrupting your dinner and you're trying to eat.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to keep up.
But, you know, we see, and this is where, you know, if the left-wing media was really so pro-protest, or so pro the right for people to speak in their minds and be able to go against their government, well, then they should be touting the Bundy shit off of every rooftop, because they're not going to be able to get a conviction on the Bundys. But I'll guarantee you, when these people come up from Antifa and all those other destruction of private property cases that come up, and attacking and actually physically assaulting police come up, those fucking people are going to do time.
Yeah, and they probably won't even come up with those charges. They'll probably plea down to some lesser, you know, assault on another person.
It depends upon what happened. It depends on how much money is property damage, if it's paid off. Okay, because you look at some of these. The funny part of this is these people are dumbasses, because ain't nobody who's pulling the strings getting busted, right? You know as well as I do, even in the military, who's on the front line? It's corporals, privates, and sergeants, right? It ain't captains, lieutenants, and fucking generals, right? No, they're in the back, right? They ain't the ones dying on the front line. It's the same in this fucking Antifa protest bullshit. All those punks getting busted, they're going to be on their own. They're lucky if they're getting bailed out by the people that are paying them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they'll have a few sacrificial lambs for sure. They'll make them martyrs. That's all they're trying to do, is build momentum. Look at the racist oppression, etc. But it still goes to bear that the Antifa protests are still just focused on other people. They're not focused on the government. They're focused on inciting other people in opposite groups. They never go after central government, which is what they want. That's what they want. They want the
really
central government.
Central government, right? They want to be the central government. That's what Antifa wants to be. That's the whole fucking point of communism is, okay, so the people in power right now, they're not me. I want to be them. Let's take them down. And God forbid when I get up there. You know what I'm saying? And that's their whole point. And they admit it. You know, we're going to tread. We're going to tread all over your shit. They're proud of that.
To get what they want.
They're going to take all your stuff. They're telling people if you're really Antifa, and I agree, if you really are Antifa, give away your shit, not mine.
Right.
You know, it's we're really in interesting times, HT. really an interesting
It
time.
just as soon as it. I mean, yeah, we haven't run a chat in a long time, so we could definitely go off the rails real quick on everything to catch up. Um, but we every time we start a chat, it's like, are things speeding up or is it just me? Because that Charlottesville stuff got out of hand fast. Like that was almost like you had your spidey senses tingling, and then like the next day you had the statue in Durham and people were taking action like on their own, and then it was like some of that. You look at how big some of those things were that like led up like days, like a couple days after. Like, okay, that stuff was pre-planned. Like they had stuff on the hook ready to just, okay, we're going to do it here. They already had these groups organized. So
Yeah, and they're trying to act like it's grassroots, like, oh, this just spontaneously showed up. No, sorry, the production of the signs shows that it's a little more planning than that.
the communist agitators are well organized, better than I
Yes.
think we were more. I guess more so. It's as bad as we thought, if not worse. The college campus infiltration recruiting grounds is significant. I would
Well,
say
listen,
it's a lot worse.
once the election happened, right? A lot of money got dumped into these organizations to start recruiting. Okay, to where they're hiring rent-a-mobs and shit like that, and they're actually actively recruiting in high schools and fucking McDonald's and Walmarts, and you wouldn't fucking believe some of these places that they're going off and they're offering these disenfranchised fucks who never wanted to actually learn a skill, but now think they deserve to be paid, right, to do the fucking most menial labor, and they're offering them money to go out and do this shit, And you see it. You see how they're busting these fucking people in. You see this is all planned, and all this money is coming from these Democrat fucks who could not believe Hillary lost. How could the middle of America think for themselves?
Right.
We're giving to a lot of people two bad choices. Me, I'm still happy with fucking the Joker being up there. He hasn't done enough destruction in my fucking point of view. But remember, I said all through the election, I want the Joker up there. I want chaos in Washington. I want him to start ripping shit apart. I don't want him joining the establishment. I want him tearing it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just, I guess, in Phoenix, the Trump rally just let out. I guess there's some small groups protesting, counter protesters. They got the police basically got a line right in between them. So that's just starting.
Fun. Well, maybe we'll be able to catch Stinger.
But again, it's just about the people divided instead of together. He's supposed to be here tomorrow in Reno, and we'll see what. I don't know if there's been a big
you gonna go
organization going. Nah, I got stuff to do. It's work.
I know you're not a Trump guy.
If I went, I would be carrying a Free the Hammond sign. If I went, I would definitely be
You'd never be a Trump guy. I understand.
I would be a counter protester of some sort. I would definitely not be considered.
You wouldn't be on Trump's side, but you sure as hell be ready to kick the teeth in, right?
Oh yeah, I'd be ready to help them out if that came to blows for sure. I would have no problem picking sides on that.
But yeah, so I would still go if I had the opportunity, just because it is a president and it's one who, again, I like the Joker, so I'm good. People keep saying, "Oh, he looked up at the sun." Yeah, so what? I don't care.
It's okay to look up at the sun, just don't stare at it. It's just that whole thing. It's complete, divide and just distract people.
And we've said that for years as well, right? I mean, how many times me, you, warrior, right? How many people in the Dragon were we pulling in of every color, creed, nationality, and across the pond,
right?
And why? Because it's the American ideal. The American ideal doesn't have a fucking color, but it does have an attitude. It's a can-do attitude. It's a bootstrap attitude. It's you can make your life better through hard work. You can make your children's life better through hard work. And sometimes, you know what? It may be a super hard. You may end up having a hard-ass fucking ladder or mountain to climb to be able to be successful. Some people may have a hill to climb. Some people may have a fucking footstool to climb. successful. But whatever it is, if you work hard enough, you can be successful.
Yeah, nobody says that anymore. Come on now.
But that's the one that we get. No, you know what? There's still people coming to this country every fucking day from overseas that still think that. That still believe in that old dream, still understand that there's the bones of America are good, the rot is only around the skin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think our foundation's solid, but they're even trying to tear that apart. I mean, now they want to do away with Jefferson. It's like, really?
Oh,
really?
There's people wanting to tear down statues of Washington.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
it's
obscene.
I'm all on. I've seen I've seen the fucking governor of the goddamn state of New York bitch about fucking Columbus and this and racism and all this kind of shit. And it's like, hey asshole, do you know what your state's named after? I was born there. I fucking know. You run the goddamn joint. I fucking didn't finish high school in your fucking state, and I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So greatest British fucking slave trader ever that lived. The family money all comes from slave trading, and he got his land in. It got named New York, and it was given to him by the king. Why? Because he was such a rich slave trader.
Right. So we should rename the New York Knicks, New York Yankees, New York Jets,
everything
New York Giants, New York.
Got to go. New York has got to go. You've got to name it something else. New Amsterdam, maybe something a little more. How about New Guinea or some shit? Or how about New Liberia? Right? Might as well really complete that fucking circle.
Yeah.
Which most people, if you don't have any kind of education, you will not get the New Liberia reference. So.
Yeah, that situation is not going to go away anytime soon. I think, and it's just convenient, and it's not. And the media completely ignores the fact that for 8 years these people had control of the government, and they could have made huge strides in getting this accomplished. So it's obviously a divide tactic now to distract from other issues or to keep any momentum from Trump or doing good things. Maybe that's obvious.
Exactly that's exactly it right there, buddy.
If you guys cared about these statues, what were you doing for the last 8 years? Because you still got pushback, but why weren't you bringing it up then? Which I guess there was the whole South Carolina Confederate flag thing, but it kind of died, it waned and went down.
Well, let's talk about these people want to tear down statues. Yet they've been walking through the halls of these. They've been walking past these statues for those full 8 years. 2 of those 8 years, the beginning 2, they had complete control, right? And they could have gotten it all down. They didn't do dick. Now they want to bring this kind of crap up. Why? Because, like you said, if Trump can get anything good done, it does not work in their favor, right? And sometimes Trump, he says shit because he's not a fucking scholar and everything. So like most of us, what? I bought the Persian pig blood bullet thing. That's the myth that went around for fucking 100 years.
The what thing?
Where Pershing killed whatever,
killing the insurgents with blood on the pig's blood. Right.
Buried, killed 9 out of 10, fucking buried the 9.
Sent the other guy back.
Yeah, whatever, right?
That did happen at some level, that story.
Right. There's a granule of truth, but over the fucking century and a quarter that it's been since the real war, right? We have glorified this and enhanced on the story to where the legend has come down to what it is. And Trump has his version of legend, and that's what he understands. That's what he learned in the military academy. That's what he fucking heard throughout his life. Heard on it, and you're gonna roast him for it.
Now there's pepper ball and flash grenades being thrown around in Phoenix. So I guess the crowd went violent. They dispersed the crowd.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. I went shooting. I was hoping to make a video for Breezio out at the range, right? That me and Breeze have been to before, but my fucking camera fucked up. I need a new SD card, it turns out. But I was there with 2 friends of mine who happened to be black. And while we're fucking shooting shit and blowing shit up downrange, we're discussing this shit, and they're not happy about it either. And they are on kind of the same side I am, that, okay, so maybe they shouldn't have been put up in the first place, but they're already there, so don't tear it down because it's history and we can learn from it. Same with Stone fucking Mountain. There, learn from it. Understand the history behind it. Maybe explore more. Maybe understand that Lee, General Robert E., just chose the wrong side, because he actually stood more with what we now think the North stood for than he did for what the South stood for. What we now think the South stood for. He was not a slave owner. He did not like slavery. There's a lot of things in that man's past that if you wouldn't have heard he was a Confederate, you would have thought he was a great general of the Union, which he was before he
right. Well, if most of those people, if most common bystanders that pick a side, I mean, not your indoctrinated leftist is not coming back. There's no talking to them. But the people that are kind of in the middle who side with them just because they don't want to be a racist, if they knew how much Confederate people had impacted and improved the United States, it'd be, it'd come out a lot more. People don't know their history. They just ignored it, and they just let it go and just followed the whole racist
well, that's why it's so
line.
But that's why it's so easy to fool these people, and that's why it's so easy to manipulate them as well. They don't know their own history. They have zero understanding of what it took to build this country. They have zero understanding of how this hodgepodge nation became what it was through an idea. And it grew from that idea. It understood at the very beginning, and there were questions all throughout the fucking, if you go reading the Federalist Papers and figure out, they had a hard time with the whole slavery thing even at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, we almost didn't even, the Declaration was almost not even done because of it.
Yeah. I mean, if you understand that was a compromise, understanding they were going to have to deal with that later.
Yeah.
And we did. We fucking did as a country. We're the only goddamn country that went to war with itself over it. Not everything about it was slavery, but that's the big takeaway. I hate having to make fucking caveats, but just to fucking satisfy the idiots that are going to argue. Because we all understand. If you understand history, you then understand. If you have not learned a bit from history, you know nothing coming into the argument, and you want your fucking points to be valid, and they're not.
Right. Just checking the chat room. Still got a lot of people out there. Saints, welcome. I sent you a link if you want to jump in here.
What's happening? Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually shooting my load right now, so I'm probably not going to be doing. I'll do an update on the Bundys tomorrow, but unless you call in HD, I probably won't get the fire going because you're burning it out now.
Oh yeah. You're going to talk about it a little bit tomorrow night, or?
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of when I saw the news. I was like, oh, I got a great show for tomorrow.
All right.
Or should I open up a dragon? I was really thinking about opening up a dragon. I came upstairs to get on the computer to open up the dragon, and I saw you had this up, and I was like, you know what? I'll just talk to HD.
All right. Yeah, hopefully there's people in here. I've got links out there.
Because I know it probably would have been me talking to myself on the dragon,
Yeah, people probably, I don't know if people unsubscribed or just forgot about it, but it's kind of just hanging out there.
It's amazing though. Still getting people subscribing. Still getting banned. I got the dragon got banned there for about a month.
Off of YouTube, or?
Yeah.
Like, got a strike against it from somebody reporting it, or what?
I got 4 strikes. I got 4 strikes in a row. I almost got fucking the channel taken down from it, right? And I went and argued. I'm like, first of all, the channel has been live for X amount of years.
Right.
And because I ended up contacting YouTube because I want to leave it up. I don't want to have to take the fucking channel down. I don't want it banned and shut down. I already told them, demonetize the whole thing. I don't give a shit. Never made a dime off of it anyway. So that's what they did. It's all demonetized, and I'm like, look, I just don't care what you do either way, but I'd rather it not be. I still like going back and looking myself and seeing the shit we talked about.
Yeah, I'm glad I posted that video. Was it Friday? I lose track of days so easy now. It seems like there was a video from way back. It was Fat Guys in Tactical Vests or something was the name of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just got to it. It was before Bundy. It was like January of
Mhm.
14. And just to hear everybody talking, I was like, wow, called that. Like it was like Tony pretty much saw in his mind Bundy coming up. He pretty much hammered it right there without saying the guy's name and exactly what it would be, but about federal overreach right there in his
Yeah,
area and everything. I was like, man, yeah, it was a good time.
yeah, it was. What's up, Tony?
Uh-oh. Dun dun dun.
No, no, it's me,
Oh, Saints, what's up?
What's up, Saints?
man.
Well, I know you all. I know all you guys got it. I figured Tony try using that one.
Watching the madness, watching the world burn.
Man, I'll tell you what. Just out practicing, making sure I can still hit what I want out to 300 yards.
Don't eat your preps up. Don't burn up all your brace. It ain't over. Them people ain't going away.
Nope.
And they ain't,
Not till something ugly happens.
and as far as I know, they're still at strength because I didn't hear of any casualties. So
Look, I have a question for you guys. Okay, this is the thing that I'm trying to drill into my kids' heads because it just keeps making me shake mine. This, I mean, we said 5 years ago it looked like the 30s Germany, but holy shit, you got Nazis against commies in fucking fighting in the streets. You know, if this doesn't look like the Wehrmacht, fucking Weimar Germany, are we ever going to even be able to fix what's going on here?
I don't know what their end goal is. I mean, they started off, I kind of thought they were attacking the Confederate statues, but now, with the oppression deal on it. But now it's everything's open game. I mean, they knocking down the Christopher Columbus deal that was the oldest one to him, and attacking these Christian statues. And I mean, I think it's just pretty much anarchy.
Yeah, but you notice the one thing they're not doing? They all have a lot of slave owners in their pockets, and they're not burning them up, are they?
Everybody's been posting that. Everybody wants everybody else's money.
Well, I don't want, you know what? No, I don't want their money. I want them to stand on their convictions. I want them to throw it in a big giant fucking pile and burn it.
Somebody in that link
To help our economy, right? Getting more money out of circulation, making it value more. But that's beside his point.
So in that link HD put in there a while ago, one of the Trump people was holding up a sign for the Antifa to read. It said, "You're broke." So I guess they ain't getting no money.
Well, they're getting some. They're getting, like, I heard, up to $25 an hour in some areas from some of these organizations paying these rent-a-mobs to show up.
If they wanted to, they could find out who's doing that. I mean, my God, man. It's, they did it for Phoenix, too. They had an ad in the paper for Phoenix, $25 an hour for actors, And it was...
Shit, I'll be honest. Look, I might have showed up. $25 an hour. That's not a bad deal.
Right? Yeah, I'm wondering tomorrow if people from Sacramento Bay Area might come over to Reno. That's how I could see that getting bad, is if a large contingent that's already, you got Berkeley and everything, it's already went down over and cause a little ruckus in Reno, that could cause problems,
Oh, they're busting them in from everywhere. I mean, even at Boston, they had Chicago, BLM was there, and I mean, they said people came there from all over. So,
well, the only one slight glimmer of fun I see is the fact that BLM and Antifa are now starting to eat at each other.
I did see a video like that where a BLM called out an Antifa guy, like, "Take your mask off. Are you a cop?" I was like, well, yeah, he might be. Or FBI informant might be more concerning.
which can bring us right back to that trial. I mean,
wow, what a loot! Good job, Yule. Boom.
well, I know, but just when you said that, it just clicked off. Oh yeah, I remember there was one of them in there too. Didn't he break down on the stand or some shit?
You know what, Burleson?
Yeah, didn't one of the FBI guys, one of the informants, one of the turncoats or whatever, break down on the stand and they had to strike their testimony or some shit?
Well, they struck every defense testimony, it seemed like, every time. But Burleson was in the other trial, and he came out with a statement after the fact. And I don't want to pass too hard a judgment on the guy, but he was an informant, admittedly, for a period of time before Bundy, so it was kind of easy to call him out. He got convicted of a number of crimes, which is odd. So it makes you wonder, did he just not give them what they wanted and they decided to hammer him for it?
Yep. Well, that's exactly what you just said it right there.
Yeah. So
no conviction. We already have you. Like, I'll tell you how they flip people. That's the way they do it. You better make sure you get the lowdown on everybody. Because if you don't, you're the one that's catching all their heat.
Yeah. So, and he got hammered. So that's kind of interesting that the admitted informant was the guy that got hammered the hardest. But there's others. I mean, the Oregon thing proved how deep it really goes, somewhat, as best as we can figure. You can only imagine the ones that were proclaimed or supposedly outed are probably not the real ones, and there's probably other ones that still are.
Well, you guarantee there's more that still are that will never be. You'll never know about, right? How many times have we said it? How many different? Again, this is you can go back and listen to us predict the goddamn future.
Yeah.
That's why half the fucking people running around these Antifa organizations are goddamn feds or cops. Or somehow
right.
being
well, that's like, and everybody talks about the KKK. It's like the KKK's been run by the FBI for 20 plus years. What are y'all so scared about? It's a Fed organization.
The Nazi Party's been run by the feds since fucking the goddamn 60s.
I'm not sure about that, but I know the KKK is so infiltrated and so, like, if it wasn't for all the informants, the place wouldn't be able to operate. The FBI dumps so much money into them just to keep that. It's like the FBI runs the child porn site. They do it for entrapment purposes, and they basically keep it alive with their own doings. It's like a bunch of fools. If you just leave it alone, it'd die.
Same thing with the white supremacists, dude.
Yeah, probably.
No, I'm guaranteeing you, buddy. I know for facts. Okay, just in own life, I understand, and I know, because there's been plenty of recruitment efforts towards my way. I turned out to be too much of a thinker on my own for that kind of shit to work, But yeah, they've been infiltrating everybody. Okay, and they infiltrate everybody. Guess what? The FBI is truly an American organization. It has no caring about your fucking racial superiority. They're going to recruit one of yours. They're going to fucking turn him into a goddamn informer or make him an agent and then send him in undercover. And they're going to fucking get in there deep. Okay, they learned that shit a long time ago and it worked real well. Do you see any guinea mobs anymore? I mean, really? No, they're gone. And the only ones that are left are allowed to live through the fucking feds. Okay.
They listen to everything you say on the phone. Hell, they probably get more off the phone on those guys talking to each other than they do from going to the meetings. It looks to me like the people they've got that are informants, man, those aren't Harvard graduates. I mean, like that Burleson guy, my God, they had him on. If it's the one I'm thinking about, they had him on film, and he's like, well, I'm going to need another drink. I mean, right then, I think, my God, we've got a freaking moron here, This guy's not squared away.
Think about this. That's why he was so easy to
I mean, HD, can I get an amen on that? Or, I mean, if you get somebody that's squared away in there, I'm sure they can act like that, but somebody that gets up that, my gosh, automatically I'd go, wow, this guy's.
Well, here's what happens, Saints, when you say no, right? Then you get them coming after you for an 18-inch barrel instead of an 18.5-inch shotgun barrel, and then they kill your wife and one of your sons.
Right.
Which is apropos because we're just a few days removed from that incident, the anniversary of that.
And again, you know, my friends here understand that that's the way I think too, right? Because I understand. And look what happened with the Bundys, right? They stood up and said no to the government, and look what's happening to them. When you say no to Uncle Sugar, there's pushback. And when you say yes and you don't do what Uncle Sugar wants, there's even worse pushback. Hence with the guy from the Bundy shit, right? The informer. You know, he didn't accomplish his mission, so he's hammered.
It's all of it's compromised. Pretty much all of it's compromised. If you don't know the people, hadn't grown up around them or know their background, you're taking a chance on. If you divulge anything that'll get you hung out to dry.
And look, I said it a long time ago, and you can keep your cell to 3 to 6 at most. Make sure they're family and they have shit, and you know they don't have too much shit to lose that you can't at least keep an eye on. Kid in college, get him out of your group. Why? Because that kid in college is a compromise into your group. You know, it's just people who think it's a horrible way to think, but it's one way you have to. The only way to be able to keep them out. You know, that's why the only people I associate with are ex-felons who hate the government. Okay, that's one of the main reasons why you don't see shooting videos with me anymore, and you've never seen real training videos with me, because you can't. You know, it's just that simple. We're not putting it on film. The only film that's going to end up is being evidence in a trial, so that shit didn't happen. You know, I'm the only legal gun owner in my fucking group, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I guess Monday, or what's tomorrow? Tomorrow they're gonna do. I guess those the hung charges, and
Think they're gonna try and retry
the other gentleman. What are they gonna do? I mean, that's twice in a row now. Hung jury. What can they do? I'm sure they'll try. Are they going to try to retry, or is it too small a charges now? Because it's very minor charges now, I believe.
both.
Essentially, it's not the big stuff.
I wonder how much.
Yeah, but
how much money now have they got poured into that? I would dare say that. Now I don't know. I don't know the system out there, but that judge, I think she's probably reached her limit on this one. But that man, if that right there had gone through, they'd have made case law out of that, and they'd just keep referring back to that, and that's no good.
Yeah, that would have pulled. They would have had a lot of pull out of that if they would have got
Yes, sir.
out of that. You're right about that.
That's no bueno.
But it just goes, if anybody's looking for an argument to talk to family or friends or anybody else that you're trying to talk to about the nature of the federal government, just look at that case and what the federal government, the person that is charging you with a crime, is the judge, is manipulating the jury, and is also the prosecution, because it was mostly public defenders. Like, how do you think you get a fair trial? How do you think you get a fair trial? How?
Have you ever watched Rick and Morty? Okay, I don't know. Maybe
my son talks about it all the time, but I don't.
Okay, I love Rick and Morty. All right, now you guys are not going to get this reference, but it's no different than what happened in the Council of Ricks, right? So it's hard to explain, but some people out there get it and look in the comment section. But it's exactly the same thing. It's just these judges that are going to judge you. All the rest of it's just for show, right? All the rest of it's just a Morty, right? The public defenders, the prosecution, everything else is just all a Morty, right? Because the judge is just doing what she wants.
Oh yeah, the judge was dragging that jury wherever. I mean, she specifically. But you know where I think she lost the jury is where she took Eric Parker off the stand when he was in the middle of his testimony. I mean, you hear the eyewitness accounts of that. The jury was shocked about how that all went down, because she, like, the judge, supposedly, the supposed judge, basically told him, you know, we're adjourned for the day, get off the stand, jury dismissed and like walked out, you know, before everybody else even walked. They just stormed off, and the jurors were like in shock, like what just happened,
I think she
because
was
it was
mad.
totally unprofessional, totally undignified, all the worst things you could think of, showing and just highlighting your bias right there in your own actions. Like, okay, you're obviously not a legitimate, unbiased actor. It was obvious then, I think, to the jury.
Yeah, I think she got mad at the jury too there.
Oh, I'm sure she got mad a few times at the jury.
Oh yeah, when the jury asked the question about videos and other photos, she talked to them like children, like, well, some cases are never decided with any video evidence, with no, none of that stuff. Like, so you get what you get, basically, and talking down to them like that, like, you really think we're that stupid? Like, in this day and age, there's not going to be. I mean, obviously, there's fed video of all this stuff, of what they choose to show and what they allowed to show, but of course, they weren't hearing about what was restrained and what was kept from them, which is another reason to acquit, because there was no evidence of anything any wrongdoing.
Well, okay, so I have a question. Was this jury sequestered?
Not fully sequestered. I don't think they were fully sequestered. You know, like going back and forth from a hotel and that's it. No, I don't think so, because they were local. I think they were allowed to go home.
Then there you go. They didn't need to see a dick of evidence, right? Because all they had to do was borrow their kid's phone, right? So if they didn't want to leave a trace of themselves hitting it, they can go to a public library. They can borrow somebody else's phone. They can hit a fucking thing at work. Blah 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 blah. Right? You know, and find out all the info you want, watch all the videos, see it all, and just keep their mouths shut while they're fucking doing their jury duty.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's the jury instructions, but everybody knows how that works. But you're right. They can, if they want to find something out, they can.
And they obviously did. At least some of them.
Or they were just like, there's no evidence here, because there wasn't, and they looked and like, you haven't proven your case. I mean,
okay, so you tell me, you're on a jury, you're sitting there, you're just Joe Schmo.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do? But they're not putting me on a jury.
They tell you there's no video, and we're not going to show you any. And you have access to the same world that we have right now, right? So you have access to the internet. You can find anything. So there's no video, none, no video evidence in this day and age. Wow, I'm amazed. I seem to remember. Let me go look. And then they go look at the video.
Yeah,
and it shows
hopefully they did that too. Hopefully they did the due diligence, and because knowing something was wrong when you had that reaction from the judge plus other things. Hopefully the jurors did step up and do the right thing and investigate for themselves, even though you're not supposed to. But the court was it was a kangaroo court, and they didn't allow it to stand, so that's good.
Well, in this day and age, telling people not to do shit is obviously the wrong way to go.
Well, they weren't allowed to say that either.
Yeah.
I mean, for those in the chat room that didn't hear that, they were not allowed to mention the Constitution or any of the amendments or any of the violations of such. It was not permitted in the courtroom.
In a court in these United States, the Constitution is not valid.
Yeah. And the way they were able to withhold evidence or testimony was just, it's bizarre, the process. And like I was saying in the video a couple months ago, it's probably stuff that's been going on for years. We just weren't as aware of it. Because you talk about how they deny witness, how they'll interview a witness and question them without the presence of the jury, and then decide if they'll let them go to the jury hear them or not. Like, where's that in the contest of proving your case or not? Like, how does that match up and what most Americans envision the court trial process and the way it works?
Well, only those that haven't had to deal with it.
Right, which most Americans haven't. I mean, really. And most people don't even go to this level of federal court, because most people plea out to get a lesser charge or to get a lesser time,
Oh, yeah.
Even if they are guilty.
Or aren't. Even if they aren't guilty.
Or if they aren't guilty, yeah. And I think Jerry DeLemus is a sad example of that. He thought he could just, okay, I'll plea down and plead guilty to this. He's got no priors. He's got, perfect, clean background, stand up, citizen of the state of New Hampshire, all this stuff, and he got hammered.
Man,
Yeah.
hammered him
I mean,
hard.
got given more than the prosecution asked for, and obviously the judge is making a statement right there. So, and I said it in another video I made. Like, if you think you're going to get if you're involved in this at all, like, there's no way you could expect to get a fair shake.
Oh, that's
like,
what I said. You got a better trial in Mexico. You could. At least down there, you know, you probably, I mean, good gosh, that's.
If you got enough dollars, you could get a lesson sentence at least down
absolutely.
There. But see, here's the deal, though. You knew if they didn't understand the full consequences of their action going in, shame on them. Because you knew when you went the full consequences of your action, that you could be up there on trial with these people having to fight for your life and your freedom in a court of law.
Oh, think about it, dude. If they'd prosecuted them boys, they may have said, okay, let's get us some more money. They may have gone after some more people.
Oh, and that I fully expect. I mean, that's still a possibility too. I mean, that's crossed my mind more than once. But that's definitely a thing. Is like once they get that, especially the conspiracy charge.
Yes, sir.
Once they get one, they'll just reel it in, and that's why they kept mentioning. They kept mentioning unindicted co-conspirators that may not be present in this room.
Yes, sir.
And I think they were alluding. They're alluding to the Bundys, but they're also alluding to all 2,000 people.
Well,
and I don't think they'd have any. They wouldn't have any compulsion about going after all 2,000 people. And there's the people that supported over the internet, people that donated over the internet, people that donated over PayPal, people that. I mean, you couldn't put a thing on Facebook without getting charged with something, which is how they supposedly convicted or were going after the one guy. Was it the other guys that were in there with Eric Parker? They were going after their Facebook posts. This is what you posted on Facebook. Like, that proves conspiracy somehow.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. You know, if you when you get down to what a conspiracy is, yeah, it does kind of. You know, if you have more than 5 people that continuously contact between each other, we're a conspiracy, right? Us friends, right? You call it friends back then.
Oh, the dragon was full of it. The dragon, that's the word that's got its name.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm one. But anyway, you know, but seriously, you know, we are. I've been there before. That's why I'm not so worried about it, right? I've been an unindicted co-conspirator many times. So it just is what it is. But that's why I knew going in. You know, I knew all the time I was fucking with. I built the dragon. I knew going in exactly what. You know, again, I know that choosing sides, I could be called a traitor if I'm going against the government of the United States and I fucking lose. You know what I'm saying? So if say there is another civil war and I'm on the wrong side at the beginning, you know, to the media, but we win and, you know, we write the fucking history books and there's a fucking statue somewhere in America to fucking a guy who's called Mule, right? God forbid.
Right.
Right. But, you know, I don't want that put up. You know, and if we lose, it sure as they not even gonna be a footnote, right? Not even gonna be somebody looking for somebody to make a fucking statue about. If we lose, I'd be branded a traitor or left to the dust of history, like many men on battlefields across the South. The individuals, not the fucking guys on the horses, but the guys behind the rifles. You know, all left to the dustbin of history. You know, but you know. Losers get called what they get called because they lost. You know, that's why winners write the history books. Till 5 generations later, and then the winners all of a sudden want to give up the history books to the whiners. Not even to the losers, but to the whiners.
Hey, guys, Tony said he ain't got no service, but tell everybody he said hi from BFE, Utah.
Well, tell him have fun out there in bumfuck Egypt.
He just
sent, probably between.
He just sent Podunk was nice, but no phone service is beyond bullshit.
Well, hopefully he can listen.
He's suffering. That's good. He needs some therapy out there away from all the clear his mind, get some fresh air in him.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what. And blacktopping, he's getting fresh air. He's getting a clear mind.
Oh yeah, plenty of vitamin D and sunshine.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason why I love doing blacktop for as many years as I did, right, as a career, like Tony's wanting to make his, is because the physical work is so hard, It lets your mind work out all your fucking problems in a clear fashion as you're physically working hard.
I'd still rather do that than concrete, though. Man, that concrete.
No, blacktop's some hot fucking shit. And you remember, in some places in this country, you have to put concrete down first.
Really?
So it's concrete then. Yeah, concrete then blacktop.
What's the purpose of that?
You're able to make minor repairs to it. The concrete is usually more stable. You don't have much ground flexing and seizing up of understrata. You know, the deeper rocks that eventually work their way up. You won't have that. It'll deflect off to the side usually. It's just the way they build some of the roads out here. That's their call for it. I always hated fucking doing blacktop over concrete. It's a pain in the ass, but good money.
Hey, y'all got me thinking about that $25 an hour protesting.
Right? I'll tell you, when I saw that ad, I was like, damn, man. You know, I might have to show up.
Well, I ain't gonna have to.
I'll take you
walk a little bit, you know, walk around, and I mean, I don't reckon you got to say much, just hold the sign.
Right.
Well, shit, I just stayed at the back, so when they started freaking out, I could switch colors real quick. You know.
Yeah, but I won't pick my sign. I mean, there's some I refuse to carry. You know, like I don't know. I guess I could carry one that said "Feel the burn" or something. Wouldn't be real bad, but. I don't know.
No, I don't think there's a single. I just say, look, I look menacing. I don't need a sign.
I don't want my picture taken holding up a communist flag. Sorry, guys.
No, ain't happening. Well, and that's not true.
Draw a line somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Now it depends upon the kind of commie you want to talk about. You know, if you want to talk about old Soviet and admiring some of their engineering skills, yeah. Okay, so I admire some commie things, right? Their guns particularly. Their ideas of government, I do not.
Yeah, these are hybrid commies here. They don't build nothing. They just disrupt stuff.
They're the old-fashioned original commies, right? So when they finally took over a country,
the real hammer and sickle commie that beat on anvils and cut hay and stuff, right? That's these are the
these are the original kind. These are the fucking rich, fat, the same ones the Europeans dealt with in the 70s through terrorist groups like Bad Meinhof and shit like that. You know, these are the overprivileged, soft motherfuckers who never had to deal with any kind of real adversity in their lives. Overgrown babies.
Yuppie / punk rock / commie.
Oh, what a mix that is.
Yeah.
Well, they got orange hair and them big giant piercings, you know, big rings in their ears. And
yeah, they've gone out of control with it all, man. They've taken the small ideas of the past, right? Even the small individualistic ideas of the past and blown it so out of proportion that they're ridiculous now. I saw one of those Antifa guys getting busted and the dude was wearing pink fucking thong. It's like, man, you're not going to do well in jail tonight, buddy.
He was going to a party when he got done.
Oh, he was going to a party, all right. God.
And then we just went off the rails.
You know what? Look, hey, the dude wore it to a fucking protest and, you know, started fighting cops and got his ass arrested. Right? I'm sorry you couldn't keep your pants up. Should have wore a belt. If you're gonna wear, especially if you're gonna wear pink, you know, a pink thong.
I know these people they're not going to go away. And I don't think a lot of them, the mindset what I'm reading, they're not going to change over to the Republican side. I mean, they might get a governor to do it every now and then, but these people, I think they're hardcore commie through and through. I mean, I don't know.
Some of them are just paid, right? So some of them are paid. Right?
Some of them are just indoctrinated into the soft commie, though. They're the touchy-feely, feel-good socialists that's used as a useful idiot until they can really drop the hammer with, you know.
Yeah, the ones I'm talking about are the front line ones, though. You know, the one that's got the spikes on their boots and shit. You know, they're.
Yeah, but they're the anarchists. There's always been anarchists around. There's always been people just wanting to, you know, look, when I was that age, I wanted to tear down any system that came my way. You know? So could have I easily been put to the front lines then? For sure. But they're only a small portion, right? The problem is the ones that are paying for all this.
Right.
Because there's think of it like say an ice cream sandwich or something, right? So the two cookie ice cream sandwich. So there's two cookies on the outside. They're kind of hard and brittle, and they're really hard in their ways. And there's that soft middle, right? All these fake fucking commies that are backing them right now, that the second they get a bottle thrown at them and paint stuff their head, they're done being communists.
Well, I said that the other day. When they get a close, very, very close explosion, and I'm not talking about a flashbang, I'm talking about a real high explosive explosion goes off close to them, and it actually stings your skin like somebody slapped you real hard. That's when the jelly's gonna run out. It's time to go.
Oh
yeah.
You're pushing for
kinda,
it. Right? Go ahead. Sorry.
Just to this is something that just popped up this evening to kind of dovetail with all the madness that is the supposed Antifa protest and statue removal bit. There's football season coming up for those that don't realize it. There's a football game that's going to be played at the University of Virginia in 2 weeks. ESPN has removed their commentator, whose name just happens to be Robert Lee. They are removing him from that broadcast because his name is Robert Lee, which matches obviously with Robert E. Lee,
Man.
and they are putting him on another game. That's how ridiculous it is.
Where did
it
end?
It doesn't end. That's the thing about it. It doesn't. That's why Washington statues coming down and Jefferson memorials are getting, whatever. It's just insanity. Like, you seriously, they made a link between, I guess he's Asian. He's not even like a white guy. He's an Asian named Robert Lee.
Robert E. Lee.
And they're taking him off of the broadcast because of sensitivity, or so whatever SJW term you want to put next to it.
And they're getting hammered in the right now in the press, at least the sports press. I know it came up on mine. I was like, oh man, yeah, that is pretty bad, dude. ESPN's gone off the rails though. Look, dude, I stopped watching ESPN years ago. Once they start going political, I'm done. I'm not a big sports fan, but there was some, amateur shit I liked, and I've always liked hockey, so I pay attention somewhat, and I like to keep up with general culture, so I pay attention a little bit. But once ESPN started getting political, I was fucking done. Sports. The last bastion of fucking true Americana is the sports field, where you can get everybody the same color, painting their fucking faces the same color as a stupid fucking sports team, right? Under that skin, there's no other color, all the colors under the skin doesn't matter when they're wearing fucking white and blue on their face. Just the team I picked off the top of my head because whatever. Yeah. Because who the fuck's going to
it was a place people, sports was a unifying factor to, like you're saying, bring people of different types together for years. The integration of sports was long before the integration of the rest of society in a lot of ways.
Except for the military.
It helped to get over a lot of things,
Yeah. They're jumping in there both feet after World War II. You can't argue that, and you can't argue society should be better for it. And it seemed like we were getting that way there for a while.
You can't have that, right?
It seems not. Now fucking Cosby's on trial for goddamn, roofing people. Once with the...
I don't know, fellas. I saw something today. It might have been fake news, but it's somebody saying something about black people said that white people ought to give their house up to somebody.
Oh, no. That's true.
Oh, that's real? True. That real news?
Yeah, there's a few of them doing that, man. Telling people that they need
reparations or more so, yeah.
Even like that. Some of the Antifa people are putting up, and the BLM people are putting up manifestos saying that we need, you need to empty your bank account. White women, you need to breed with other colors. You can't be continuing the white race. Blah blah blah. Don't breed with white men. Blah blah blah. Whiteness is the devil. You need to give all your money over to all these other people, and your house, and your property, and your blah blah blah.
Well, somebody needs to keep somebody needs to keep a list of all them people that do give her house and all up because of that. And that way, when you see them, you can look at them and go, "You dumb."
Well, look, man, I'm just, again, I just keep buying ammo. It's like, what are you going to do these days? You know what? I know the few people I can trust, and I mean trust. I don't mean just I mean people I can trust. I don't mean associates. I mean people I can trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Then actually on the ammo front, this is the first weekend I've been able to buy a box of 22 long rifle, in a 300 plus box or more since before Sandy Hook.
Really?
Finally, they're like I mean, I haven't looked after Sandy Hook, like there was that period of time, like, well, you want to look for it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I bought a little bit, Sandy Hook was what, 2013?
Yep.
Is that right?
Something around there.
And I think probably 2015, I just stopped even worrying about it. And so it may have shown up before this, but this weekend actually was the first box that I have seen and bought since Sandy Hook.
Oh, I ran across it a couple times after Sandy Hook, but this past year, since Trump's been elected, it's been in all my stores just like it used to be.
Yeah, I know that.
I laugh with some of the counter people that have been there a while, and a couple of the store owners at the small mom and pops. We laugh together because it's like the shelves are back the way they're supposed to be. Oh, they look like they did when I started.
It's still not in Walmart. Walmart still doesn't have it out here.
Oh,
all they'll have is they'll have like 100 box, but you can't get a 300, 500 box.
Oh no, they show up here. They get bought up pretty quick, but they show up.
Yeah, the East Coast definitely had it easier.
I got people accusing me of fake news because I tried to tell them that Tull Ammo is not going to be in Walmart anymore. They're selling out what they got, and then once it's gone, it's gone. People kept calling me a liar. Well, I just got a couple of confirmations. Nothing I can like publish. But I've talked to a district manager around here and 3 different department managers in different Walmarts, and they're all like, yeah, no, this shit ain't coming back. 0, 0, 0, 0 on order. No, you're not getting 7.62 back. Not in Walmart. Not from Tull.
Right.
And when the 9mm is gone, it's gone. You'll probably, and I was thinking to myself, I'll probably see that 5.4 on the shelf for about another year or two, but 2.
Yeah, it's
because they're selling off the stock.
Well, you can find 22 around here. There's plenty of 22 of probably 7 or 8 different makers, at like Academy. But the only thing I can't find around here is CCI Stingers. And you can find them online, but they're 25.
I got them in my Walmart.
The ones I was saying online were 25 cents a round. Dude, I'll shoot breaking 7.62 for 26 a round,
And sometimes you can find it for 21. Buy it on sale. Right now, actually, Golden Tiger's on sale over at S&G Ammo for $200 a case. If they still have any. But yeah, they have Stinger at my Walmart. It's $3 and I think $3.75 a box of 50.
Hey, I'm gonna real quick. Let me go back in the chat room. I was looking if had some more people join us. We're up to 20 watching now. That's like a record or something on here, I think. Let me go.
What do they have to say? Well, I mean, they usually have good shit to say.
Well, let me look over here. I was following a little bit. They're kind of just following what we're talking about, it seems like. About Antifa.
Well, what do you think on the Bundy?
They haven't been talking about much about. Well, we were sidetracked with about everything else.
Well, I have a question for you. Maybe is there going to be a rehearing for their bail? Is there going to be a something on there on some of these people's bail?
The ones that are still not been in court yet?
Yeah.
Oh no, they're being completely denied any due process. They're being denied bail.
So how soon is their trial going to be?
Supposed to start 30 days after this one that just ended.
So this one just ended, so it should be late September, early October?
Yeah, maybe 1 October, but I have a feeling that they're just going to use this mistrial as an excuse. That's just my feeling, but we'll see. Maybe because of the conspiracy.
They've been denied representation too. Didn't Larry Clayman offer to come represent them and they said no?
Yeah, the judge can determine who your representative is. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
all right, let me get back in chat room here. Home Runner joined us back. I don't know if he's still in. Yankee 4, what's up, buddy? Good to see. Hope you survived the. There, I know it was pretty strong out there. Chad Lee was in there for a minute. I sent you a link, Chad, if you wanted to hop in here and say some peace. G Mangoes has joined us. What's up, G? If you're up, I might shoot you a link. You're always good for a chat. Politically Incorrect's out there. Looks like he's still in the chat room. Stan Ulch, Canada, right? Joined us from across the border up there.
Yeah.
Partisan Gorilla, they're all chatting it up.
This sounds like an old
They're talking about road
dragon
work. They're talking about some road work there for a while. Tony, I guess Tony 1238 is like one of Tony's side channels. Everybody know who he is, or is that somebody else?
Oh, if
never
it's
met
Tony,
Tony
it
before.
could be one of Tony's side. It could be one of Tony's side channels. You know him.
Tony
He could have just
1238.
made
Yeah,
a
I
new
thought.
one.
Actually, some of the comments, it doesn't seem like Tony.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. All right.
No, he didn't.
I
They
guess
said he didn't have any service. I was talking to him on. They said all he could do was text. He must be in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I guess he may have followed Jay Thornton over here. I guess maybe. But welcome to the chat. G Mangoes, Tony, William Gares. Hey, William, what's up? He's totally off subject as usual. Something I don't understand, but okay. Winging It Trace is out there. Hey, how you doing down there? He's down south in Vegas, in the region at least. And that catches us up to everybody that's joined us. Yes, Stan, they're not following the rules of the court. Stan comments out there, after a hung jury, they should have had an immediate bail hearing. I think they're having a detention hearing is what they're calling it, Stan, tomorrow, for Eric Parker and the other gentleman that still had charges that went to mistrial. The ones that were completely found not guilty of 10 of 10 were released today. So they went back to Henderson jail and got their stuff, and I think they should be out back or something right now.
Well, you hope
they're out there. But there's supposed to be a detention hearing for Parker and the other gentleman, and we'll see what if it's a bail situation or if they're going to continue to, if the prosecution is going to drop it. I don't know.
So the Bundys should be on trial by October, hopefully, right? As long as they don't push this fucking...
This mistrial doesn't give them justification somehow to push it back further. I mean, the denial of justice is pretty strong right now still.
Now, I have a question. See, this is where I wish I was a lawyer sometimes, because I'd love to know, is there any kind of recourse against this judge at this point?
Right. There is no recourse against judges except through Congress, as far as I understand. Judges have carte blanche in the federal system. At the state system, it's a little different.
And that's why it's so goddamn scary when, we didn't want Obama appointing people like this. And,
Oh, yeah, she's a Harry Reid recommended.
Yep.
Yeah, G Mango says Tony, I guess, is a different person. Says.
Yep.
Okay. Well, welcome, Tony.
Is G coming in?
I sent him a link. Yeah, I sent you a link, Jay. Sent Sparks a link. Sparks bowed out. I guess he doesn't want to go public with much, but. And Lavoy Finicum is still dead.
Smart.
Correct.
Again, we are still unindicted. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, that's
so
true.
every get together brings up
smart play
somewhere.
Yeah. ZPD Survival just joined us, checking in. Thanks for joining us. Spread the word on the trial. For everybody that's out there that didn't see the beginning of it, we're still not seeing this in the mainstream, the story about the not guilty verdicts and the remaining charges still in a hung jury. That's not getting out that the situation and the jury seeing through all the deceitful tactics of the court and of the federal government. So definitely spread the word as you can. As we said earlier, judge railroaded people. You can look at John Lamb's Facebook and Andrea Parker's Facebook Live from day to day and just documenting by the hour almost of all the injustice denied, and the just outright kangaroo court nature that went on in that courtroom was just bizarre. The federal government and prosecutors able to essentially do whatever they wanted, while the defense was not allowed to present many pieces of evidence that would be most Americans I think would be permitted. The court system doesn't work like that, apparently, as most of us are rapidly trying to catch up learning that.
Well, because the
but
federal
spread the word for sure.
State court, right? So most people don't understand that either, right? The federal system is a whole different ballgame. And even though this excluding of exculpatory evidence is ridiculous, and even I know that, you know?
Yeah, partisan guerrilla
Like I
brings
said,
up a good point. Alex Jones has not covered any of this, really. What's his name? David Knight has covered a little bit of the court proceedings earlier in the week, but I haven't heard him say anything today after the not guilty verdicts.
Roger Stone stood in there and did a speech. I think he went out there to Las Vegas and did a speech at that Bundy deal for.
Yeah, he came out a couple weeks ago and did an event for him. Yeah.
So what do you think? Most people are just waiting for the right time to set this loose on the public? Or Jones, I gave up on Jones a while ago. When he gave up on the Bundys, I gave up on Jones. He should have constantly kept a hold of. What was that other clown that was out there all the time? Or
not David Knight, or what are you talking about? David Knight was the one that was out there at the actual events. You mean another different reporter of some type?
The one that tried to interview you guys?
Huh? Nobody tried to interview me.
That guy? What was that name of that guy that was doing the streaming at the time? Out there.
Santilli.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Santilli.
Santilli's in prison.
I still ain't figured out what they got him in jail for yet. I don't
right,
know.
he's a co-conspirator supposedly. Yeah, he's with the he's with the Bundys. He's getting tried with the Bundys as part of it as a conspirator.
Oh, okay. All right. Holy fuck! I didn't know. I knew he got busted. I thought they would have released him by now. And see, that just shows you where the fucking media is so full of shit. Right there. For all people can say about Santilli was acting in I believe good faith as a citizen journalist at the time. At least at the beginning.
I don't know. I think they got him. They said something about he was doing a call to arms or something. I don't know.
Right, that he rallied people to come down there or something. Yeah, that's probably it's part of the conspiracy charge that he helped aid and abet.
I mean, that's like what you were saying a while ago. They're talking about anybody that provided any kind of material support. And, man, there was churches bringing food out there and everything else. Are they going to go after them, too?
Well, right, yeah. I'm sure if they can track it all down.
And I'd hate to buy 3 or 4 pizzas and go out there, send them out there because everybody's hungry and them come put me in jail because I supported somebody. Holy cow.
Do not cross the federal government. That's the lesson.
Yeah, they don't want that history. They don't want that documented. They don't want that history recorded. That's not in their interest.
Well, why do you think that, like, the Athens, what is it, the Battle of Athens?
The Battle of Athens history, yeah, right.
Yeah. Why do you think that's never talked about? It should be. It's a very American story. That thing should be celebrated every year of Americans standing up for American values against corrupt government. But dear God, that shows that there's a corrupt government. Dear God, can't show that. I don't know. It's just, we live in interesting times, gentlemen. It just keeps getting more and more fun. And, it seems this country of ours can bend a hell of a lot before it breaks. I definitely thought we would have broken by now.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that at length too, about what's it take for the people to actually get up and do something about it, but they're too busy being divided against each other.
Well, some people are getting up and doing shit, right? And this is going to be our biggest problem, right? Is the wrong people are getting up and making the most fucking noise, right?
Mhm.
And that's going to be the biggest problem. Is these squeaky wheels are going to either get a response that's going to end up turning ugly, or they're going to get a response that's going to encourage a continuation of their actions. And right now, they're getting the response that encourages the continuation of their actions.
Yeah.
So I hear they want to go to Sturgis.
Oh, I heard that had to be like a joke story, right? I mean, who in their right mind would think they could get away with that, you know?
But look, they went to fucking Boston, right? You don't know anymore.
Boston's not Sturgis.
You know, no, it's not. But you go to the south side of Boston, right? They didn't go down to the southeast. You know,
Yeah, right? They were.
But it's just, I don't know, man.
I know in the last 6 months, probably 5 months, probably the last 5 months, I've seen more stories by people that are middle of the road journalists, you know, that are talking Civil War this, Civil War that, and it's going up the ladder. That higher ranking journalists and more predominant news outlets are talking Civil War, and it's not CNN and MSNBC. They're talking violence, but these other, you know, right, I hate to say alt-right because they got a label on them now, but yeah, I'm seeing Civil War awful lot. Are we in Civil War? Is Civil War coming? Is Civil War inevitable? You know, what would a Civil War look like? You know?
Yeah, that seems to be. I think that's a distraction tactic because they're talking about between the people again.
Yeah.
Not the people against the government.
Right.
There's an article in Breitbart about that. One of their head cheese that's down there wrote an article. You know, what would it look like? Would it look like 61 to 65? And they, you know,
in a way, what'll happen is the same thing that's been happening, you know, that happened under the Obama administration. They'll burn their own shit out. You know, you'll just destroy more of your own fucking property, or more of the things that would help you economically, which would get your mindset out of this communist bullshit. If you learn to earn instead of just take, you know, and that's what'll happen, you know, and they'll just, because that's what happened in the 60s when that communist mindset came into America, you know, that tried to piggyback on the civil rights movement. Destroyed large portions of these people's own territory, and they still haven't healed since then. Look at Baltimore. Look at Detroit. You know, Detroit's been nothing since the riots.
Yeah, my view on it may be hurtful to sensitive people, but I said the other day, cut the cell phones and the power off, let nature take its course.
All it takes, right?
Yep, cut the cell phone and the power off. Just shortly after, get the cell, give them 2 days, hit the power, let nature take its course.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, I don't have a phone, and now the power's off. And
well, look at the blackout. Look at the blackout in New York City, right? A couple of hours, even just, you know, half a day's worth of a blackout, and people lose their goddamn minds. You know,
right? Oh yeah, does it take 6 hours and there's some looting going on somewhere or something?
Yeah. So imagine if we could shut off all the power. Well, that's, you know, that would destroy our country. But it's something I hope never happens.
Well, I don't want it to go off all over. I just I'm kind of be selective about where let's cut the cell service and the power off at. You know, like
just Montgomery and Mobile.
Yeah, that's terrible. I might get labeled for saying that.
You might be closer to Chattanooga up there, aren't you?
About 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's everything from, you know, the goddamn lake to Joliet, you know.
I figured.
Yeah, I saw that.
I figure 10 miles a day is all most of them's going to do, maybe 15, not carrying the load. So it's going to take them a bit to get there. They'll be tuckered the time they get down there. Maybe some of the fight will be out of them.
They might have run across a couple of people already to soften them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, they definitely will for me. There's at least a little bit of a buffer zone from them all coming at least this way. If they head west, young man, they'll be in the wrong place.
Yeah, before they get here, they'll go through a little taste of fear.
And believe me, there's people out. I'm not the only one. I mean, that's a lot of reasons why I went dark for a lot of we used to discuss, because it's done time for talking and helping people get ready for it. It's either you're ready for it to go off at any time and you pray it never does, or and be fucked.
Oh man, there's people that are not only ready for it, they're going above and beyond. It's like, holy cow, dude, where'd you come up with that? You know,
they're itching. I know a few people that are itching, you know, that are like, man, don't keep poking. I've been waiting for this. Please don't.
I mean,
you know,
there is, you know, got it just out the wazoo. It got an excess of everything and coming up with high tech stuff that just, where'd you get that?
Yeah. And that's I know two dudes like that, and I keep them in the associate realm. You know what I mean? I get to what they have and know what they have. And if time comes, I definitely want them on my side. But
well, that's when I say, where'd you get that?
They're not there for the initial.
Yeah, when I say that, they look at me and they go, you asked too many questions, Chief. And that's the end.
Yeah,
I don't ask no more questions.
Yeah, I just ooh and ah. That's all I do is ooh ah. I don't ask, I don't tell. I learned that from the Clintons.
Yeah, they're really making a game. I mean, they're making a sport out of it more than it is a necessity. They're beyond the entry level for sure.
And
hey, just a real quick update on the Phoenix situation. Looks like there's some serious or semi-serious writing. There's stores on fire. Looks like.
Really? I hope Stinger and Heidi got home good.
It looks like it probably happened after, because I guess the crowd got in the little fisticuffs with the cops, started throwing things at them. And the cops went to disperse them, and things started falling apart with the communists there.
Oh, well, again,
storefronts are on fire and such.
Oh boy,
that's what they want. You know, that's what they desire. They're getting their heart's desire.
Well, and that way, when something else comes, that the government will be forced to shut down free speech or any other type of
that's the rally. Thing they're fighting against our very core value of free speech.
Yeah, that's the nature.
And once you take away the First Amendment, that opens up all kinds of shit with the Muslims and all kinds of shit. Now you really want to see racial divide and sectarian divide. You'll start seeing it. You get rid of our First Amendment, Jesus Christ. Well, then
it's a double-edged sword, that's for sure. Because when I start this, they'll be like, "Oh, we can't let anybody do it now." So
I mean, that's the whole reason why back in the 70s or whatever, the Skokie Nazis. Does anybody remember them? There were a protest against the Nazis fucking being able to march through Skokie, Illinois, but even the ACLU stood up for them. Why? Because it was a free speech goddamn issue. Nobody wanted the Nazis. They were a small group of people, like 20 fucking people out of the whole Midwest. And they got ridiculed the whole way. You're always going to have some small psycho band of people, right, that believe some of the craziest shit. And you have to let them speak their things, so you speak whatever their mind is, so you can ridicule them in the realm of ideas. But we're getting beyond that. We're getting into the realm of bullets, and we're getting into the realm of violence. And people, a lot of these people don't realize how many of us out here that have been keeping our mouths shut for so many years, not guys like me, but more like, say,
I'm glad you didn't accuse yourself of keeping your mouth shut. That's good. Good catch.
No, but, that have been, seeing this coming for a long time. And this might even be, they might even be second, sometimes third generation person who's been seeing the whole progression that's been going on since the fucking 60s, right? And they're ready, willing, and able, and actually itching. Some of them to war, join the military to get the training to be able to deal with this at home. You know, they went during peacetime and they went before wartime to get training to come back home to be able to protect their home and family with as much training as possible, paid for by Uncle Sugar. In doing so, serving their country.
The gangs were doing that for the longest time.
Well,
Still
I know
do
just
to a
straight
certain
up
extent,
people.
but
I know straight up people. Look, and part of it was, you know, maybe that mentality, right? Because there was a time when, anyway, you know, but yeah, man, there's plenty of patriotic Americans that went and took the training that, you know, Uncle Sugar gave you for 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever years, right, and put it to good use in their regular Joe Citizen job, you know.
yeah. That's something I've considered with the oldest. There is like, you know, wanting to steer him away from, you know, joining the military, but then at the same respect, like, well, you know, doing 2 years and getting some training, you know, that you need, because I can't do it all anymore for you. That would still be useful on the back end. Just that's the risk of the years in between that you have to deal with.
Yes. And that's where, you know, maybe my son was smarter than I was by not joining, you know, and even though it looked like he was going to, and he went the other way at the last minute, you know, all through high school, I thought he fucking was. Anyway, but he's doing good now. I'm lucky in that sense, you know, and he comes out and, you know, participates in this stuff because he's one of the few people that's not a felon that I can trust. You know, you know, are the ones I breed. That's why
still
I have
family, so he counts, right?
Yeah, and that's why, you know, I have three grandsons coming up. You know, one right now under my very wing here at home. You know, so believe me, if shit don't go sideways anytime before they get old enough, they're going to be the next line of defense. You know, Grandpa going to teach them boys.
Right. Yeah, I just don't think I have quite enough time to do all that.
Hey, look, man, starts with teaching I don't think I'm going to have time to teach the grandkids, but I'm lucky enough to have taught the kids, you know, and my last is going through finishing up her last 2 years of high school. And I've already had to tell her to keep her head low, you know, because right now is not the time to speak up in minorities class about how, you know, wait a minute, some of this shit ain't right. And I can prove it, you know.
Are we talking in high school or in advanced
school, public high school?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you know your area better than, I mean, yeah, some areas definitely be questionable.
I live in Illinois.
Yeah.
And I live in Illinois in a town that, while it is rural, it's changing, and it's changing by will of this gay mayor that they voted in. I didn't, but they voted in because they wanted to prove, you know, kind of like how Obama got in, right? Everybody's thought it was time. You know what I mean? And now,
we prove how diverse, we prove how open we are by electing people that are completely derelict of any ability to do the job.
Yeah. Exactly. And, you know, I mean, this is an area where, you know, my son fought, and I've helped him picket the high school here because they were with the trades. Right? Building trades.
The whole Mike Rowe thing.
Yeah, the whole Mike Rowe thing. And still, giant reason why I'm a giant fan of his. And what do we need now more than ever? We actually need, again, here in the United States, especially with the crackdown on illegal immigrants. Right? So that means the cheap labor pool is drying up that did all the construction stuff that, you know, the regular blue collar guys used to do. And instead, you know, it didn't become worth picking up the hammer to do the hard labor anymore because you weren't getting paid the money that you were getting paid as an American. You were getting paid the money that some dude from South America would take $100 a day to do. You know? So now we need it. It's not here. And they're starting to kick themselves in the ass. Our school board is, at least around here. Because believe me.
But it's hard. Welding's hot. Mechanicing's greasy, and machining. I got a splinter, and it's you have to work outside. It's not fun.
I know plenty of this generation that's willing.
That's one of the good it's not a meme really. It's kind of like more one of those picture graphs of like, how come you only hear about gender equality when it comes to white collar jobs and, you know, upward mobility and stuff? You never hear about, you know, welders and road construction and other jobs where gender equality is necessary.
Well, because they can prove all that. Actually, I just shared something over on the Facebook. If you want to go check it out, you know, a feminist acts, because it turns out that women 22 to 30 are making about 8% more than men are right now of the same age group, right? And the woman brought up the wage gap and said, well, it turns out that these women are taking higher paying jobs that require different skill sets, right? The very same argument about that whole 12, 18% or whatever that the men have been saying for years about the wage gap with women, right? Feminists actually get the way, they understand the reason for the wage gap when it benefits them. You know, the hypocrisy is shown. What time is it? Oh, okay. Kids are home. Damn, you've been running a long one there.
2 hours. We're almost 2 hours. Well, it's past your bedtime now, isn't it?
No. Old Nine Toes over here still stays up way past the bedtime for everybody else in the world. I still talk to people over in fucking Germany and Scotland and Ireland at night. Because there's still people there's still free thinkers out there in the world. You know, people that can have an argument and a disagreeing of opinions like you and I, and yet still be friends and still agree to disagree. You know, and will stand beside us for the very right to be able to disagree with you to the death. You know, he could say what the hell ever he wants, but I'm going to stand beside him until I die, but I'm going to disagree with him.
Yeah. You don't see that so much necessarily.
They're trying to make the big divide in the U.S. You know, you're either with us or you're with them. You're either over here on this side of the barrier or you're on that side of the barrier. No. I'm not with y'all, and I damn sure ain't with y'all. You know?
Exactly.
And they're trying to either, well, you got to pick a side. I know, I don't.
Nope.
You know?
Right.
I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a fucking commie.
No.
Nope. You know what I am? I'm a goddamn American. That's it. Period. Done. I'm not hyphenating shit no more. I'm done with all that crap. I was born in America. I'm an American. Period. You know, I'm not a state. Okay. I was born in New York State. Don't live in New York State. Don't give two shits about New York State. Right? I lived in California. Wasn't a Californian. Live in Illinois. Not an Illinoisan. I'm a goddamn American. America is my country.
I'm a Nevadan.
And I'm not, you know, look, dude, it's not my state. It's my country.
Yeah.
My state's part of my country. Nevada never would have been a state if there wasn't a United States. Period. There never would have been a country of Nevada. Right? If it hadn't been for the United States, there never would have been Nevada.
It probably would have been the country of Deseret if it hadn't become Nevada. It probably would have been the Mormon country of Deseret at some point.
At what point would have people started coming out there to settle if there hadn't been the United States and manifest destiny and expanding the country?
Well, the Mormons came out here because they were pushed out everywhere else.
And why were the Mormons? Okay, so but where did the Mormons come from?
Illinois. A lot more Missouri.
Okay, and what was Illinois when they came? Where was he born? Where would Mormonism start? Upstate New York. In what country? The United States of America. So if there wasn't any United States of America and they didn't have the freedom to pursue whatever fucking religion they want, that shyster wouldn't have reinvented a goddamn religion.
Right.
Okay? Same way L. Ron Hubbard did. So anybody who's a Mormon and your feelings are hurt, sorry about it.
Right.
But, you know, if there wasn't the United States, there wouldn't be. If there hadn't been manifest destiny, there wouldn't be. I mean, now there might have.
The Jehovah's will be knocking on your door tomorrow.
It would have been different. Who knows what it would have been? You know, who knows what would have happened? Maybe the Spanish would have kept going up and actually settled the area. Who knows? right? Maybe the
Right.
Russians came down. Who knows?
Oh, for sure. You probably would have had the issue with, California would remain Spain and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we don't know, right? But we do know that it became the United States of America, manifest destiny. Eventually, it was a territory of Nevada. Then it became the state of Nevada, and blah, blah, blah. It was always part of the United States of America from when it started becoming what we Europeans understand as a goddamn country.
But
right?
but that's the problem we have is, was it, how much was voluntary association versus forced association?
Oh, but and again, it's yeah, I understand that, but here it is. It's you are what you are, right? We're a country, the United States of America. Breaking it up now would be a bad thing at any point, including letting fucking California float off into the sea.
Let them go.
I want to, but honestly, we really can't.
It'd be painful. Don't get me wrong. It'd be painful. We've talked, and we're getting off subject here a little bit, or way off subject, but.
Yeah, but
obviously it would be painful no matter how it happens. But a peaceful division, no matter the economic consequences, is better than the real pain that's coming when this all falls apart.
No, because it's gonna. Oh, look, it tried to fall apart before and came together, right? Through a tyrant, no doubt.
But guess more what? Tyranny, more centralized control. We don't want to encourage that.
But we got a potential tyrant in the fucking White House right now. That goddamn crazy ass Joker up there that I helped get up there. But I do believe, like Lincoln did, that and a lot of people are going to disagree with it, but I think the Union is a good thing, and I think keeping it is a good thing, maybe through almost any means possible. Almost. I'm not saying nuke each other, but And hell, who knows? Because if fucking California goes, then who's to say Massachusetts isn't going to go and split the country that way? Right?
Oh, sure. It'd be a domino.
Everything. Well, say the blue states succeed from the red states, right? So we become two different divided goddamn countries, right? What's going to happen? You really think us red states are going to let the blue states keep the fucking shit that they're getting from overseas and have to put in some kind of tariff against us? Fuck that. We're coming for land and blood. You know that as well as I do.
That's awful socialist of you. Nazism, blood and land, right?
I'm just saying, no, I'm saying, and there ain't no color, there ain't no government there. I'm saying you're going to start keeping shit from us. We grow the food. We're going to have to pay a tax to the coastal people to be able to ship our food out overseas to the rest of the world, right? So they're going to tax us for that shit. And then
that's what we got the state of Jefferson for. And we'll have a port state of Jefferson's. We'll be good.
Yeah, good luck with that. You think them California commies are going to let you have your state of Jefferson? You're out of your goddamn mind.
You think they're going to be able to fight for it?
I don't know. That's what they keep threatening.
Yeah. Well, if the LA thinks they can fight for Jefferson, then that'll be good luck.
Well, they actually have the numbers.
Jefferson's going to have a lot of support on it too.
Hey, but think of this for a minute, right? Okay, let's look to a little bit, and I know we're totally off the rails here, but look to what happened in Korea, right? So if the Chinese hadn't come in to back the North Koreans, Korea would be a one country right now, held up at the Chinese border.
All right, yeah.
Right, and it would be a westernized country united, right? Because we had won until the fucking Chinese started pouring over that goddamn.
If MacArthur would have just stopped about 200 miles shy where he ended up, or not even 250 miles.
I know. Well, if he had
just held the line there north of the Chosin instead of going all the way closer to the Yalu, it would be a whole different discussion. But yeah,
I agree. The Chinese wouldn't have took it as a threat and dumped their people over the border, and we've had fucking the nightmare we have now, right?
You just squeeze the North Koreans out of the rest of North Korea there.
Yeah, y'all don't forget about Vietnam. It was cut in half too, but it didn't work out like everybody wanted to. It went red all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, and picture what would happen on the West Coast if it was, California, Oregon, and Washington against the state of Jefferson, or what's left of California, Oregon, and Washington. Say the state of Angeles or some shit.
It looks like, just to follow up on the main topic of our discussion, I guess Eric Parker is released. There's a picture of him of Eric and his wife. So I guess they gave him some kind of release pending his next hearing based upon those mistrial charges, I guess.
I'll
try to find some more, but there's a picture of him and his wife. So
Nice. See if they interview him. I'd love to hear what he has to
They
say.
said something about he was going to a halfway deal where they've got like internet and.
Yeah, they did talk about a halfway house, but this is out. This is out in a crowd. It looks like it's outside, maybe the prison, the jail, or something.
They may cut him loose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they may see it crumbling, and somebody might have called from, because remember, Trump is over in that area right now. So somebody somewhere was holding up a fucking sign.
Well, I know Trump today. Today, Trump said he's going to pardon Sheriff Joe. So
this is John Lamb's video. I'm gonna post it in the. Let me get it. I'll post it in the link outside. All 4 released tonight.
Wow.
Good deal.
Nice. Is he awake? Yeah.
Who?
Oh, my grandson. You want to see him?
Talking.
You want to see my grandson? Hi, buddy. I know it's going to take me a minute while I make sure he's comfortable. Thanks for helping. Asshole kids.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. I just posted in the chat, the external. I'll post it inside here for you guys too. That's a pretty good video.
Hey, there he is, HD.
Oh, it's like 40-some minutes. Your little guy, check him out.
That's Declan. That's a future warrior for the America. Hi, buddy.
Is he got a house at home yet?
Well, no, he's still. Hey, come back here. He's hitting the tap.
Right. I put it on the. I put that link on the internal too. If you want to link over to it.
I'll be off in a few minutes.
Okay, but I was just
Okay.
John's posting. I think that John Lamb guy, he posts all his video on that Valley Forge network.
Oh, is that his network?
Yeah.
On the YouTube? Oh, I was wondering who that was. Okay, I just posted that Facebook on the internal.
Yeah, they can, just in case somebody hadn't got Facebook. I know a lot of people out there refuse Facebook, but hey.
I still use it. I still use it because it's still the most common way to communicate in the easiest form. And you know what? You're not going to get away from them tapping whatever the hell they want. I mean, we've already.
Right. The thing about it, they're griping now on there that nobody posts this, no personal information anymore. Nobody's posting where they're at. You know, they're losing their data. That people are. I guess people are waking up and not. You know, the input has slowed, and that they don't like that. They don't. There's nothing to sell if they don't have anything new.
Well, they're trying to control what we see, hear, and basically taste and smell these days, you know, and we can't let them. So we start turning off our info. You know, I mean, you're easy to track unless you start turning your own shit off. I have one of these smartphones, and I've turned off basically everything.
Well, that's why they have that term now called an open air conversation. If you want to talk to somebody about something and you don't want it and it needs to be offset, you have an open air conversation.
And they can catch that too, man. Yeah. You know, they bug lampposts, they bug bus stops, they bug, you know, CCTV cameras everywhere. You know, you never know as far as OPSEC's concerned, you have to be super careful.
If you send it over the telephone, they're going to get it. They're going to read it.
Look, I'm going to tell you the way the guineas taught me. Whisper in somebody's ear and then deny you ever said it.
What, mate?
Because if I whisper, if there's something, I need operation of security, right? It's an old standard, right? You tell one person, that one person tells one person, that one person tells one person. You don't have them passing that along to groups, more than one or two people. You want to keep those conspiracy charges away from you. It's one person tells one person in their ear, and you deny ever saying it. And that's the only way to keep, because look, man, the feds have been, all the stuff that they used against the Bundys, and we talked about it during the Bundy ranch situation, they were going, then we said it, they were going to use this kind of stuff against everybody doing this stuff. And what were they going to use? RICO statutes. What were they going to use? all the shit they learned from coming after the Italians and the bikers and the Jamaicans they did in New York, all these fucking different groups, the Colombians down in Miami, the cartels all over the world, all that shit they were using against patriots now, right? They're going to use it against you. Everything you do and say will be used against you in the court of law.
And they're going to take a piece of bologna, and it started off, a guy had an ingrown toenail, and by the time they got it, oh my God, his foot was cut off with a machete by a stranger. No, he just had an ingrown toenail. They're going to sensationalize. They're going to blow it out of proportion. Start off.
Did during the Bundy Ranch, right? So it's, these people standing up to an injustice to the federal government. Well, they didn't call them protesters. They called them insurgents, right?
Yeah, combatives, whatever.
Yeah. But now they're not calling these fucking Antifa pieces of shit insurgents. Why? Because they have their own goddamn agenda, and it's in the same one of the government.
What was it?
Right? The government
today, peace through violence? No, something through violence.
Mm-hmm. No.
Is that right? Peace through violence, or something like that. They got.
Yeah, that's the
CNN put it out too.
And that's straight out of the fucking Communist Manifesto from the fucking teens.
But they won't label them as a hate group, or they won't label them as domestic terrorists. But they'll go after a church group that doesn't believe in gay marriage. It'll be put on a hate group.
Well, you know what? That's why I don't join groups anymore. Closest I had to a group in the closest I've had to a group in a while was the Dragon. And believe me, if we'd ever really gotten any bigger, they probably would have called us a hate group too. Because they were already starting.
We were probably on the SDLC skyline, right?
Well, remember, they were already starting that shit. Remember some of the fights that me and Stinger got into with other people over that shit? Over these exact same free speech issues that you're seeing going on in the country now. If you go back 2-3 years ago to the Dragon, you'll see the exact same fights happening there. Right? Over dumbass words and free speech and people's ideas and trying to argue them, and people were shouting them down and saying you can't even discuss the idea. Just even discussing it is evil. Any idea, mentioning it, bringing it up is evil. The exact same arguments I'm seeing out here in the country we had in the Dragon. Multiple times. It's what shut it down. It's what brought the eventual close to it. I mean, it kept running for a while, but the heart of it was taken out of it because of those kind of fights that kept happening. It just wears you down after a while. That's why I don't give a fuck anymore, and all I'm doing is stocking ammo. And burning it up burning it up just to make sure I keep my skills that kills.
Yeah, it's some strange times. I know I'm probably a little bit older than both you guys, and I know as far back as I can remember. Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I have never heard of government officials and representatives, and I don't know whether she was a senator or Congress lady, calling for assassination of the president. Now, I've just never seen that happen.
Yeah,
right.
No, well, not since the Civil War, not since just before the fucking South Carolina said "fuck you, bye, I'm taking this fort with us." It's crazy times we live in, man. It's ridiculous. And I'm trying, look, I'll be honest. I've had enough shit going on in my own life and with the grandkids being born and more grandkids showing up and just having to keep, wanting to have at least the end of my life being okay, loving on them and teaching them in the ways they should become decent human beings. I ain't got time to help everybody else and to talk about it and discuss the shit that we've been seeing over the years. We did this already. We tried to wake people up to it. And it didn't change just because Trump got in office, all the shit that the government shenanigans that have been doing. I mean,
doesn't seem like
no one man can do that shit.
Things like
right?
I mean, it's sad. Colonel Potter's he's done some pretty good documentation about how he tried to start off surrounding himself with some good people, and then they all got forced out, and he's pretty much just surrounded by snakes in the grass now, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, and look, the things that he can get done, he's getting done. He's taking better care of the vets. He's at least signed executive orders to do so. There's a lot of things I think that he can do that's great things. There's a lot of chaos he can cause and other things that I'm okay with.
There's one question that's trying to figure out is why are ships running into shipping container ships? That's the most bizarre thing with these last 6 months. We had 2 naval vessels, which are swift, very agile naval vessels, get basically rammed by shipping container ships. That's just bizarre.
Well, you know what? Look, it's not if
now why it's happening is a whole different question.
If somebody's poking a fight and testing stuff, how close can they get to these ships before they know that what's going on, right? And they're using cargo container ships. Why? Because out of China, lots of cargo comes, and the Chinese need to test their boundaries. No real difference in what the fucking Japanese did in the second.
Well, what I heard, they thought they might have been tricking the GPS, hacking the GPS system.
That's what I think is that's what I think it is. There was a story from last week. I was listening. It wasn't a story. It was some commentator talking about how some ships were in the Crimea area last year or short time back, and they were having a problem where your GPS was telling you were not where you were at, and they had a similar instance with, I think it was an aircraft, and it was showing that your position was over one of the airports nearby in Crimea, but you were actually out in the ocean in the Black Sea. And so it was shadow ghosting it somehow, tricking it into its location. Now, if you did transfer that to a naval vessel like that, like that's the only way that could happen.
Yeah. Is it happening?
Is the staff up there? People that are manning the con on the ship are looking like, okay, we're safe, we're good. This GPS on this ship says it's over here. We say we're here. Everything matches out until bam.
But this is where I don't know. I'm not I tried to be Navy. I didn't end up being. But anyway, I don't understand. Don't they still have watches? Aren't there still actual people in between that last line of, holy shit, there's a ship over there. There's an iceberg right there.
Right. Yeah, there's people on
what
on the
GPS
deck.
tells me.
Yeah, JJ in the external, he's talking about the Phantom drones. They came out and told the military to stop all use of the Phantom 3 drones or whatever it was, Phantom 4 series drones, because they said that China was grabbing all the information off of them, the track, all the stuff they were doing. But think about it. Every bit of the military's weapon systems now, all the way down to a mortar, are GPS.
Except for the individual rifleman.
That's it. The ground pounder, that's it. Everything else is. And they use that GPS deal to, with a smart battlefield system, where they got all that crap on their helmet and all.
Oh, the new, that's, mostly Army. Yeah, big Army will have that.
But all your artillery and all the.
Yeah.
Everything's tied into that GPS. They cut it off.
And that essentially just takes away all our advantage, because that was our technology is our advantage. If you want to go mano a mano and just sure numbers, we're at a disadvantage.
Well, we'd definitely be one if they can take out ours and theirs is still around.
Well, the Russians and Chinese in particular,
yeah, and all their technology.
And you got to figure, is this just a warning for North Korea? This is saying, hey, you might not want to mess around in North Korea because we've kind of got your number.
I have a whole different tinfoil hat for that whole situation in that sense.
Oh, right.
So, seriously, I mean, when you think about it, China, it's what do you think some of this Antifa stirring up is in the country? Where do you think some of this money might be coming from? Why not the communist Chinese? Any disruption in America, it helps them economically, it helps them internationally, it helps them on the world, all over the place, right?
Sure.
If California, Oregon, and Washington want to succeed from the Union, right? and come to an agreement. They do a moratorium or whatever. They do a vote on that shit, and the people say we want to split, and there's going to be a civil war. Well, what would be the smartest move for China but to back the fucking West Coast of what used to be the United States in a war against the rest of the United States?
Well, all these old warriors, you know, Joel Skousen and James Wesley Rawls and all these guys that's been out there for a while, they say that Russia's not the threat, it's China.
Well, think about it. Who wants to control the Pacific? And they don't want to just control their little corner of the fucking Pacific. You know, their ideals are no different than what Japan's were in a way, you know, Oriental world domination, at least becoming a superpower that's rival of any other. Top dogs, so who needs to get knocked off but us? And where's all the strife and derision coming? Our own country. So who's causing the stirring it up? Makes sense to me. You know, the whole fucking California wanting to bail, Washington, Oregon going the way. They're going to disarm their citizens as fast as possible. And then who can sweep in? Shit, they make video games about this shit.
Yeah, there's been scenarios offered on this very similar thing.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
A long
It's
time.
pretty easy to see, you know, and look at all the shenanigans that are going on in the fucking South China Sea and the Southern Pacific. Jesus Christ. And then with you know, Hawaii being the asshole that it is, and it's being bought up by the Chinese like it's going out of style. If you want to sell a postage stamp piece of property on Hawaii, you're probably going to get fucking 5 offers from China right away, and 10 times the amount you're asking. Why do you think that is? Same in parts of California, same in parts of Oregon and Washington State, and Vancouver for that matter. You start going up the whole West Coast of North America, and you start seeing a lot of Chinese money showing up.
Mm-hmm.
That they want to control, they want to build a new canal down south. You know, and they look a lot longer term than Americans even can possibly think to. Used to be called the Oriental mindset, right? They think in centuries, generations, and we think in 10 minutes. You know, these days it's 2 seconds, but you know.
Yeah, it's gotten worse.
Yeah, our attention.
They still play the long game.
They always have.
Maybe the Russians will airdrop us in some pallets, some skids of goodies if it gets too bad.
I'll tell you something. It sounds crazy as fuck, but you're right. You're right, Saints. Guess who would be our ally if that shit went that way? It would be Russia. Russia would be America's ally.
Everybody read up on your Dishka and your PPSH and your RPG.
You really want to know who caused the most discourse between even back in the Imperial Russia, but Russia and the United States? It's always been England. England never wanted Russia and the United States to be friendly.
Well, the Democrats.
And if you read some of the diaries from Churchill, he'll tell you that himself.
Hey, Mule, was that you that I saw a meme the other day? Was it you that posted that meme that's talking about these people believe in a pure bloodline to rule the people, and it showed a picture of the royal family below it and says, "What's the difference?"
Yeah.
Was that you that posted that? Yeah, that was awesome. I love that.
Yep.
I hate the royal family.
And you go boom. You went boom. And that's like, yeah, because, man, what's the difference? What's the difference between them and the Rothschilds or whatever fucking elites you want to talk about who think they're better than everybody else?
Right. That was an excellent meme.
And
Make that.
And that's where, you know, look, I mean, that's why this country was founded, was to get away from that kind of internal royalty. Even though at the very beginning, a lot of people involved were willing to do it, willing to turn fucking the Washington family into royalty. You know, thank God, even though they were slave owners, they were more smarter, liberal-minded men in real control of that one short period of time in history. True future-seeking, altruistic men who understood that those ideas can overcome the situations that they were living in.
Anybody want to make a prediction on the next shenanigan that goes on? Because it went from Russia, it died.
North Korea.
It dead in the water. We went through North Korea. It dead in the water. Now we're doing the race thing. and it's I don't know, it may
Which
die
one?
in the water.
That's the
Yeah,
most.
it's a dangerous one.
It's been 2 weeks. They've been playing at least 2 weeks, so you know.
Yeah, it's what's next. Anybody want to make any guess? Spin that wheel, bust the deal.
Well, let's see. There's the NFL is going to be starting up, and about half the players are probably going to fucking kneel. So people are
Well,
going
they
to lose
already
their
are in the preseason. You've seen some of those stories.
Yeah, no, I don't pay attention to the fucking NFL. You know me,
And
dude.
there's-
I stopped. I stopped a long time before he knelt. I only paid attention for a minute because he knelt, and just to laugh at the foolishness.
Yeah, I guess
at
in the
this point.
preseason games, they've already had a couple teams, pretty good, pretty good sizable numbers.
Well, that one NFL coach said anybody took a knee is going to be can hit the freaking road or something.
I just say if your knee hits during the national anthem, I mean, you don't have to show respect. There's plenty of people who don't put their hand over their heart or just stand there fucking quietly, right? You say if you're not from the country, you're not going to take a goddamn knee. You're just going to stand there quietly and respect somebody else's country, right? You dock them for the price. You're not getting paid this game. I don't give a shit what you do.
I know they've been doing that for years though, because I remember the Olympics. One of the Olympics, there were some some guys,
but they lost their medals.
They
lost their medals.
That's what I was going to say. They kicked them off the Olympics and pulled all their awards. So now I guess it went from not being okay to being okay.
Well, what's going to happen is the NFL is going to lose money, and the more money they lose, right? They're already losing money all over the place because TV doesn't. The only thing left on TV that people really watch is sporting events, and they're not going to want to watch. There's already boycotts of the NFL, so they're going to lose more and more money. And if the more money they lose, they're going to put a stop to it once it starts really affecting their bank accounts.
Well, Hollywood's about dumped too. I think Hollywood, everybody out there, it's divided, just like.
For example, though, Saints, look at what's happened with all these movies lately, except for maybe one or two superhero movies that still have some patriotic vibe to them.
That's it.
They're bombing.
Yeah, or Transformers or something like that. Everything else is
bombing. Horrible box office returns.
Too politically
because
correct.
nobody wants to go. Why are you going to go spend a high dollar to go see a movie that you're going to see in 2 weeks anyway on your phone, right? You're supposed to go for the experience, and then you just get preached at how bad you are. Nobody wants to fucking see that no more. Everybody's sick and tired of being told how evil they are for one reason or another.
Right.
Your entertainment, And look, that's all you are in football. Football's not fucking life. Football's football. It's a distraction from life. And if you're going to bring that shit into it, I don't want to watch it. I'll go to my high school game.
Well, I think
that's a better option anyway.
I think they got a little medicine on doing this. They got a little carried away with Kathy Griffith holding up the chopped off Trump's head and stuff, and then she wanted to play the sympathy, and I think everybody kind of cooled their heels because they pretty much trashed her. I mean, buddy, she was a dumpster fire when they got done with her.
I don't know. I think more and more people are learning that the biggest vote they have is with their dollar bills. Right? That's the biggest vote you have is with your dollars. Your economic power is way more than anything else anymore.
I mean, they just got to look around. I mean, Americans got to stop buying guns eventually, right? We've bought the place out for the last 8 years. Free cash running around somewhere after all these years of all these firearms are getting stocked up.
Well, the beauty of it is now they're running cheap.
Oh yeah, they're definitely. You can tell that they're trying to sell because things are definitely lower than they were previously for a long time. I mean, AR's selling for $350.
Yeah,
but
AKs. Look, I bought AKs when they were cheap.
It's still flying off the shelf though. I mean, the sales. I mean, you look at these surplus sales sites. Golly bum! I mean, dude, they're got 20 in stock, and then the next 4 hours later, boom, sold out.
Has anybody seen? Did those M14s ever come on the market? The whole marksmanship program M14s.
I don't think
they got those from.
They got the M1. They got the Grands.
Still the M1s?
Yeah, but
there's actually the M14s from South Korea. I thought that was the big thing coming next.
Well, they'll come down here because they got a CMP armory down here in Talladega, and that's where they rebuilt a bunch of the Grands. I'm sure they'll get them, and I know a guy.
I know the 45s are supposed to be coming in from Uncle Sugar. Uncle Sugar is supposed to be dumping all his 45s, and it went in through Congress, signed, sealed, delivered. They're supposed to be.
Are they going to dump all the Berettas too now that they got their new pistol?
No, just the old 45s. They ain't getting rid of those Berettas yet. Them don't That's drop coming. That that handgun in a war isn't going to be sticking around for a while.
Oh gosh, what a debacle that is.
Well, first of all, you know what? Yeah, it's just a total debacle. You're going to find somewhere along the line, somebody got paid some good money.
Let it slide.
Because that's a test. Look, a hammer, you ain't getting that with a hammer gun, and you're testing it in a hammer gun. Because it's hitting right where the hammer would be. That sets it off. And the funny thing is, Sig made a better gun with a hammer, the 250, I think it was, right? That was the exact same modular system, but it just had a hammer, and nobody liked it. That 320 is just a changeover to a striker fire, and look what happened.
Well, for a secondary arm, that's hard to beat a 45 because if you've got to go to your sidearm, it's time to do something besides,
Yeah, but look, remember the whole reason why they went to the 9mm was, there were good reasons for not using the 45. The 9mm is almost the equivalent. Women can use
good reasons. That's the only reason.
Well, they had the Navy.
Well, more capacity at the time. Come on. 45 was still only 8 shots, and the Beretta was, 15.
That was one of their arguments, was the capacity, and the other one was that it's 9mm NATO, and all the European countries now carried the 9mm.
Yeah.
Get on board with them, the UN and all. Everybody's got.
Brother, they had to get on board with us. All the women being in different MOSs being able to carry a pistol.
I qualified with a 45. There ain't nothing wrong with a 1911.
No, and I love mine. Don't get me wrong.
I don't care what Jaeger says.
Well, I have the 1911, but it's a double stack 45, right? So I have the best of both worlds. Now, it's a little big for some people, but I'm in love with this gun. I mean, 15 rounds of 45 ammo. Well, that's enough. If the argument ain't over, you're in trouble. So how's the chat room look? Is Steve in here? Is he talking?
They were talking about various things. There's hunting. They talked about. They were all over the place. They talked about the NFL. They talked about Vancouver and the Chinese. They were following along.
Total off-topic question for you and the family. First of all, how are the chickens? How are the goats? Okay, because I've seen a few videos of you now. I'm waiting for you to put on a goddamn Shema, and we'll really just think you're back over in the box. No,
say that again. Are you waiting for me to put on Shema and what?
And herd your goats, and we'll think you're back over in the sandbox.
All right. Yeah, it looks kind of like it, right?
Are you
Nevada, Afghanistan look about the same.
Are you milking your goats HD, or are you just doing a brood stock?
No, we're working on getting them the dairy production going. It's a learning, growing process. It's not easy for the uninitiated.
Well, I'm sure. Especially if it's a hands-on thing.
Yeah, we don't have an automated process. That's for sure.
Just chasing those little buggers down. Got to be keeping the kids.
No, chickens are great. We got we're trying to work into selling some chickens. Yeah, we're doing a rotation of I think we're getting the whole flock rotated here before October, so we'll have all new layers.
Cool. You still doing the rabbits too, or did you step away?
I need to do a video on this. This is something I want to do. We're paring back way back on the. Well, basically, we're not doing meat production on rabbits anymore. And it only makes sense.
That you just weren't, you didn't decide to go in. It would be too much to try and sell it.
with what we're doing, we're just changing that we've got the land to use, so we're using livestock that use the land. Rabbits just don't. Rabbits are good for a small lot, and they're easily contained and they're easy to maintain, and we're not. That makes sense. But when you got to have all the other animals, when you're able to use the land you got, and go into a grazing and everything else, like it just takes away from time and feed and stuff that you can put towards other things. So it makes sense to transition.
Well, because you have a bigger operation now, so the rabbits are.
Yeah, just we got more land to utilize. I mean, rabbits are great for small, like I said, small. If you got no other protein production, I think they're easy to easily increase, meat production. And that's there, and they put out a lot of high quality meat. But if you got the opportunity to have a dairy production plus, you got obviously eggs from the chickens, but meat from goats and other things too. It's too many competing priorities. So if it's easier to get people nearby that have goats and be able to integrate or cross populate with other locals, as well as dairy and other things are more people that just aren't as readily, or they're not as readily to accept rabbit meat. For instance, they're more likely to take on, if you wanted to trade or wanted to share goat milk and cheeses and stuff, like that's all.
Yeah, cheese right. Lasts a while too. That's got pretty good shelf life if you do it right. Put it up and whatever they dip it in beeswax or whatever they do to seal it up. You got a pretty good shelf life on it.
On cheese?
Yeah, if you
once you wax it, it lasts long. I think they found cheese from like the Greek times and stuff. Like centuries.
I know that hook cheese, man. I seen that stuff when I was a kid. Those big old giant round disc of cheese. They'd be in there. That thing had to be 3, 4, 5 months old, sitting there on the counter.
Oh, I've known 10-year-old growing up in some of the in the neighborhoods I grew up in. You'd see these old delis, and there'd be cheeses there that were there when they opened the joint. And it's third generation Italian deli.
I mean,
what kind of cheese is that? It's decoration cheese at this point, but it's still good.
Yeah, it's gone bad to make cheese. You already made the gone from buttermilk to cheese there. I mean, what else
you've already made that transition. Now it's just keeping it from rotting away.
Yeah, it's done had the mold and their fungus, whatever made it turn into cheese. So you should be pretty good.
So let me ask you a question, HD. What's good to raise? What other animals would be good to raise with your? I mean, what are you thinking about expanding to?
Goats? I don't want to expand anything. The wife has ideas. There's the SHTF blog. Is that the name of it? There's one of the SHTF blogs that really talks about the different homesteading techniques, and there's there's one of them that has having each of the different types of animals in a mixed herd to kind of to you maximize the grasses and the brush that they eat, so that they rotate through the pasture area, right? And they balance it all out. So there's formulas, on the number of acres that you can support with the number of animals. Like they have an example of like 1 cow, 2, 3 goats, a sheep, a couple pigs, another a number of chickens, and you rotate them through the pasture in different areas to use their different fertilizing and composting, highlight those advantages for each one of them, or just keeping brush or bugs or whatever. So it's a little bit different here because I think a lot of those are focused around definitely greener areas. I guess you'd say the southeast,
what kind
Midwest.
Of terrain? What kind of terrain you got around here? Everybody mixes their goats with their cows because the goats will eat what the cows want.
Right,
but
it's easier to do
yours
there.
Is more like, yours is more like Afghanistan. So what I'm trying to think is but that's true though.
Really, it is. It's tundra.
It's the same. It's almost the exact type of environment, right? When you go through from Utah all the way down through to Arizona, New Mexico, it's basically the same kind of geography that you get out there, right?
The only thing we're missing is we're not quite as high altitude, because the Hindu Kush in Afghanistan goes 20,000 feet. We just don't have that big of elevation.
But if you can grow hemp that high, you can raise cattle that high, right? So, my question is, so whatever's sustainable in your area should be sustainable there. So, what can be used like around you
in Afghanistan?
That could be used over there. Yeah.
But they don't have
two goats.
They've a couple cattle, but not large herding operations. It's one cow or one cow here and there. Goats are much more prevalent. Of course, no pigs. Chickens are pretty widespread.
Are pigs good to raise in your area? Could you raise pigs pretty easily with
people have pigs. Yeah, we're working on pigs right now. Didn't you see my beginning of my videos?
Not at the moment.
I was wondering what she's going to do with him. I was wondering what she's going to do with him.
I didn't see any new video with pigs. No.
Yeah, no, the last couple of videos, the introduction's just the pigs we got. That's the introduction. So that's how I lead you into what's going on. Is I just show a quick snippet. So we actually got them. They were rejected by their mom, so we got them pretty much pro bono. Because the mom rejected them, so we've been raising them, and we'll see where that goes.
Free pigs, free bacon.
Right.
That's awesome. Mom rejects them, you get them for free. Hey, just don't name them. Right? That's what people keep telling me. Even though
we named them. We name all our kids. Name all the animals.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they still eat them.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know plenty of kids name them and eat them. They don't give a shit. Oh, yeah, Sally's good. Sally's a good pig. How do you know? Taste her bacon. She was good. He was smart, too. Not smart enough to not be a pig, but,
Yeah, pigs are pretty – these we have, they are. You always hear about how smart pigs are. Yeah, they're pretty crafty.
They are, and they are. Pigs are smart, no doubt, right? And those Vietnamese potbelly pigs that people make as pets are smart. But I laugh because the person I know back east had one break into his yard. They escaped their owner, and all I had to say was free bacon. Well, all their friends are Northeasterners, right? So they totally thrashed me, and I just kept laughing and posting bacon stuff and different bacon stuff. And that's a smart animal, not smart enough to not be a bacon. Bacon, it's food. I'm sorry. You want to name it, that's fine. I'll name my steak Betsy as I'm putting her down my gullet.
I know pigs, they'll eat just about anything too, because you can put up a pig pen, put them pigs in there, and they'll root up and eat everything in there, but like if Jimson weed's growing in there, they won't eat that Jimson weed. That's the only thing they won't eat.
Yeah, goats will eat that though, I think.
That Jimson weed, yeah, it's some kind of, I don't know. They said they used to smoke it. Some old woman's telling us they smoked it when they was a kid, and I don't know. It says it's poison in the Reader's Digest outside herb book, but she said, "Oh, we used to smoke it. It'd make you high." That's an old woman telling me that now. So. But I know pigs, right. It's the only thing in a pig pen that the pigs won't eat Jimson weed.
Huh. Yeah, there's there's way to free range pigs, and pretty much right now they are free range. But
hell, I've heard of people. I've heard of people feeding the dead chickens to their hogs, and they say, "Oh man, you ain't supposed to feed hogs meat," and they'll eat everything but the feet.
Yeah.
There'll be nothing left in there but 2 chicken feet. If you throw a dead in there, they'll eat it.
They won't eat the feet? Why won't they eat the feet?
No, I don't. That's the only thing left. They'll eat everything, but you'll see the 2 chicken feet there. The part that the feathers don't grow on, they won't eat that.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll probably cut back to just one. At about the 6 or 8 month mark, we'll probably butcher one, and maybe see if we can get one to mate or something. Start finding some piglets. But that's work in progress, right? Work in progress. But yeah, to go back to your original question, just time and effort with the rabbits wasn't, as since we're looking at a bigger production, just was moving on, changing up what we need. But it wasn't because they're not. It's just different priorities. I think we lost Mule. Maybe took a break. Oh.
Well, I've tried everything. I've tried everything out here where I'm at, and I've just got too many predators. They wipe out your chickens. They'll wipe out anything you got. They can get to. They'll wipe it out. But that's something, if you're not got them in some kind of impenetrable deal, when you live out in the middle of nowhere, you're gonna have varmints.
Yeah, we lost some ducks, probably to a coyote. We got some coyote on film that we think that's what it is. But just shore up our defenses, reorganize the team, retrain the dogs.
Yep.
Because of what the coyotes are pretty smart. It looks like what they were doing was they would distract on one end of the property and have one of them sneaking around the back side of the other one. They work as a pack, just like any other pack animal.
Yes, sir.
And when I got the one on film, it looks like he was by himself. So that was probably the infiltrator, and the others were distracting on the other side of the property. Well, they got in and out with some meat.
Wow.
So it's just okay, we figured that out. We made the defenses, mixed them up, toughened them up a little bit.
Well, if they find that there's a food source they can eat there, they'll keep coming back till they eat everything. Till they eat everything you got, or you kill them.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out right now if it's on the moon cycle they're coming back around, or what the cycle is, because there's definitely a rhythm to them. Because there'll be a lull period, and then they'll come back around. And we didn't have any problems with them last summer, and through the winter it wasn't too bad. And they not, but then this spring for some reason they finally figured out they had some food here.
Yep, that's when they got mine. When everything started getting green.
There's plenty of other sources around, so they're probably maybe just doing hit and miss, raids, all the different, just doing it in a circle, hitting all the different properties, because people all around us have chickens, or there's people down the street that have sheep. There's people here that other places that have whatever. So they have plenty of opportunities to hit other places.
Right. I got a picture of I set a deer or one of them game cameras up, and I've got a picture that I got with a coyote. Looks like he's got a turkey in his mouth.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I guess he must have got him a wild turkey. I don't know.
Oh, you think it was wild? No, not one of yours.
No. It was. I'm saying it was a turkey. It was some kind of a big old bird. I'm suspect it was a turkey.
Right. What else would be that big?
Yeah, you get a game cam out there. It'll tell you everything it's eating all your stuff up. I've caught foxes and shit. I killed several raccoons, and foxes too smart, man. They're slick. They get in, get out.
Yeah, they're smart.
They don't hang around. They'll find their path. They're gonna go in, and boom, they run in there and get what they want, and boom, they're out of there.
Yeah, we don't have many of, like, there. You might find a raccoon here or there, or a fox, but they're rare. Coyotes are much more prevalent. Well, Mule keeps dropping in and out on us. I don't know if he's gonna.
No, I'm back.
He's back. Yeah. I had a friend of mine who he actually, and they lost all their honeybees to a bear over the winter, like the early spring, and then they lost their entire flock of chickens. They think it was coyotes hit it first, and then they think the stragglers that were remaining, they think a raccoon or a bobcat got them. It's like, man, that's tough. They just lost pretty much all of it.
Well,
It's hard to restart hunting.
how do you deal with predators out there?
Well, you
'Cause I
got
know-
whatever fence you've got, and dogs and rifle.
Okay. Well, no, just so you have those options, because I know some places they won't let you, they start bitching about you shooting predators coming onto your property. Not around here. You can hunt coyote all damn. It's
Right.
if it's coming to eat, crops or anything like that, you can, they're fair game in that sense.
Hell, I was in a chat one night. I don't remember who all was in there. JJ, 2 or 3 people's in there, and hell, I was shooting out the kitchen window. Got a raccoon trying to get in my chicken pen.
Really?
Yes, sir. I got one of those driveway alarms that when somebody drives up in your driveway, it ding dong, ding dong. Well, hell, I mounted that thing on the front of my chicken pen out there, and I went out there at night, closed the pen, and hell, was sitting here in the chat. I had my rifle in there by the kitchen window. I heard that ding dong, ding dong. That's all I need to hear. And yeah, got him.
It's just a simple motion detector.
Yeah.
And then your trail cams just better because it alerts you.
Yeah,
you ain't just seeing that coyote walk away with the turkey. You actually get to shoot him.
Right. Well, it's a little pain in the ass. I had to take screen off the kitchen window, then we'll tear it up. So I went through all the steps where I didn't destroy anything, but it's lazy man hunting.
Might be time to cut a flap. Cut a flap in the screen and overlay it with another piece of screen so you can just lift it up, stick the barrel out.
Whatever got my last chickens was watching me, and it was hitting them right before dark. It knew when I was going to go shut that chicken pen, because I'd go right before dark and close that pen. And one day I was about 10 minutes late, I guess, 5 minutes late. It'd been dark about 5 or 10 minutes. Boom, they hit me hard that night. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's weird. We're usually up even because with the rabbits, we don't even feed the rabbits till late at night. Like the rabbits won't get fed till midnight.
I lost it again.
Because they're kind of they're night animals, so they'll eat at night. So we feed them late, and so we're out and about in the area late, But that we figured out those coyotes are usually running through about between 2 and 4, so they're coming in the dead of the night.
You have traps? Can you set traps for your coyotes? They're lying attack.
I got too many other animals running around, and my other side of my fence line's the neighbors, so whatever they got running around.
Time for you to buy a suppressor and just sit out a night or two.
Well,
okay, I'm just gonna tell you now. I don't know if this works because I'm not a hunter, but I know a couple of guys who have that problem around here. They'll kill 1 or 2 coyotes, leave them out to, leave them out there to die if not dead right away, and just let them bleed and lay. And the other coyotes smell it, and 1, 2 coyotes in, they stop hitting his flock.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that another time, talking about basically spread the blood of the dead around your property to keep them away.
Mm-hmm. And it works for, at least I see it work for the few people I know that do it out here. Because there's a lot of people in your situation. Mm-hmm.
Well, people talk about how smart foxes and all are. Them coons are pretty smart, because I set some of those live traps up, and I caught a couple of coons. But before I caught them, the first time I'd bait them with sardines, and I just started putting an egg in there, and they wanted that egg, but they wouldn't go in the door. They'd try to reach inside the cage and get it instead of going in the door. Well, they didn't have to walk in there and step on that treadle. And then I put screen wire around the bottom of it where they couldn't stick their hand in there and get it. And they'd start tearing the screen wire up. So I put concrete blocks on both sides of it, just laid them down where they couldn't get their hand in there. They turned my trap upside down. Then I had to end up taking steel rods and staking my trap down where they couldn't flip it over. And I caught the sucker, big old mama coon. It's just an art to catching them. You just not going to go out there. It's, You know, it's like a lot of these.
Yeah, you could figure your trap's not the first trap they've come across probably in your area for sure.
I mean, it took a while to trap them. You know, it's like a lot of people. These little communists, you know, they go out and throw some tomato seeds out in the yard, and they go in and put mayonnaise on the bread and walk out there wait on the tomato to pop up. And they go have a tomato soup. It don't work like it. You got to work around it, you know. They're smart. All that stuff takes. You got to watch it, you know, learn what that thing's doing. And hell, it cost me about 3 or 4 cans of sardines and half a dozen eggs before I ever tricked that sucker into going in the trap. And people say, "Oh, those things are so cute." Buddy, that thing would eat you for breakfast. I mean, I got close to that thing. I got 10 foot from it. It started blowing and hissing at me. I knew right then it's going to be tough getting it out of there.
Well, fellas, I think we're going to have to wrap it up here. We're getting close to the 11 o'clock hour. So let me thanks everybody in the chat room came and joined us. They're still going strong. They're following along and making their own, talking about the animals and coyotes and wolves and everything else out and about. Looks like we held on to about 10 viewers here to the end. So thanks for coming out, fellas. Wrap it up on the topic here. If you haven't seen the news about the not guilty verdicts in the first stage Bundy trial, go check out the links in the side chat. I will post some of those links from the Facebook post primarily, and any YouTube links I find concerning that into the description box below once this posts. But the point of the chat being, the jury sent a very loud message to the government today that their shenanigans would not be believed at the least, and would not be tolerated, hopefully, at the best. But that was good news to hear today, those not guilty verdicts for everybody. We'll see how those mistrial verdicts went for those couple of charges, and how that pans out in the future. And we still got a long way to go in this whole situation, fight, whatever you want to call it, with the Bundys, the proper family and everybody coming up for trial, and should be 30 days based upon what the judges said in the past. But of course they are delayed it once, and if my line of thinking is they're just there to indefinite detain them anyway. So thanks for coming out, fellas. Some of those links and a lot of the other information, just to make sure I'm saying I'm keeping it straight, because I get confused, but it's looking good for everybody. Mule, you want to say a shout out to anybody or say some parting words? I know you got a chat tomorrow night in your Blog Talk Radio broadcast. Anything else? Or did I lose him? Maybe he went to sleep. All right, Saint, you want to say anything, parting ways?
Appreciate the invite. It's always fun, entertaining. Get a chance to vent. Don't eat your preps up.
Yeah, as always, continue to prepare. Do not eat your preps or shoot all your ammo, that's for sure. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. Hopefully we did cover a lot of ground while still trying to wrap it up and stay on topic. Thanks for coming out and checking out the chat. Spread the word. The whole tyranny of the federal court system is far beyond, I think, what most people realize, and jury nullification is the rightful remedy of the people. Like they talk about the 4 boxes of justice, essentially, in America. We have the ballot box, we have our soap box and our First Amendment, we have the jury box, and we finally have the cartridge box when all else fails. So you all know what to do. Prepare. Let's live free.